What's going on, you tube world? Steve, eventually, Vinny. And I'm Dave. Insert Revolution Podcast 177. Um, Ryan Bannister of RBICRU will be joining us a little bit later. Daddy duty and all that. Made sure people usually, we get on people's bad side pretty quickly. So told him don't worry about anything. We don't need Shannon, his wife, on our bad side. So
We get on people's bad side.
yeah, I think so.
This is news to me because like I haven't heard anything. Have I missed something?
I think it was the episode where we were cleaning our cards.
Which we've never done. So like you have to be alluding to something else, or like I'm missing something, or like, and no, this is not a freaking jump into something else. Like we get on people's bad side. No, I don't believe that for a second. Hell, we got Ziggy commenting on our fucking live streams nowadays. We're making the big time. Oh, wait, because we're also people who speak the truth and don't shy away from the freaking shenanigans and the bullshit that goes on.
And we just never will. We don't care.
Who cares? Eventually we'll be blackballed, blacklisted. Like, do we really give a shit? Like,
no.
We've got our friends. We know who we can trust, who we can rely on, who we can have conversations with, and take it for what it's worth. This is going to sound really harsh. If you don't like to hear what we have to say, turn the fucking channel.
Yeah.
Like, in all seriousness,
listen to the Positivity Posse and float away with them because they're hanging on the ankles of people that are using their stash too much, and they're higher than the highest clouds in a thunderstorm. So
yeah, it's just, we've never shied away from the fact of, we never did this for popularity. We didn't do this for the likes, the subscriptions, the sponsorships. In all honesty, we've had to shy them away. We've had to turn them away. You know,
yeah.
the list is really fucking long, guys. Okay, actually, it's not, but
hashtag allegedly.
That it's three dudes with guests on occasion that have been collecting for almost collectively for 100 years. So, like, put that into perspective. Probably over 100 years collectively. So what's going on, LA Pats? Good to see you, my friend. It's been a while. Orlando, Paul, like, you guys are always here. So
Michael,
good evening to you guys. Michael's usually on the show. I guess he decided not to go to bowling, or he's watching us from the bowling alley. One of the two.
he had said he can't wait for Ryan to be on, and of course, then I gave Ryan. I told him, I said, I'll give you the link, like, when I get everything set up. So I gave it to him. What day was it? Saturday, maybe. And then, so I gave it to him about 7:05. I said 30-minute warning for the show. He's like, "Do you need me right away?" Same spiel. We just said it. If you're available right away, great. If not, just come on when you're available.
I'll see you.
So
I pay attention. I pay attention.
Yeah, Michael then he showed me the setup that he had in that room, and
yeah, I saw the pictures as well. I'm waiting for that video though.
Yep. It said those chairs look like they're good old fashioned drinking chairs.
Yeah.
So I'm not an old-fashioned guy or an old-fashioned. But that just seems like the correct slouch, depth, uh, ass level to sit and just like converse, take some sips on the old-fashioned, and literally piss the night away. So well done, Michael. Well done.
Well, I don't see you one drinking an old fashioned and drinking the night away.
Well, yeah, this is true, but
But
again,
nothing.
if we got a group of people and it wasn't like, I think the next national will be a little. We'll still be excited to see each other. That won't ever go away, I believe. But us meeting each other all for the first time, it was literally like a kid's birthday party, like a 5-year-old's birthday party. It was just so much energy, and so
Well, in all fairness, like I've said this before. When the neighbors across the street are out of town for the winter, usually the only time I drink is on Tuesday or Wednesday nights of the show. And I usually have two. So, and even when they're here, it's two.
mhm.
Very rarely do I surpass that two. And even during national, it's a lot of beer was consumed, not specifically by me per se, but at the same time, it was fucking always late. We wanted to somewhat get an early start because we didn't want to get there too late. And then sometimes we just kind of meandered and like we didn't have a set schedule, which was nice.
The only day
Other than
Friday.
was Friday, was making sure that we got there and I was able to get in line for my TD photo op. Outside of that, like it's hey, when everybody starts getting up, when four of the five were ready, it's like, okay, get the fuck up.
Yep.
We're waiting on you now. Bob. Sometimes it was the kids. Let's be real. Sometimes it was the chillins. Um, even when them going to bed earlier than than us, they still needed their sleep. But it's you're right. I think next year will be a little bit different. Um, Hopefully, we'll have Mark longer than what we
Yep.
did last year. Hopefully, we have Michael next year. Um, so it and hoping it's the rest of the crew. Like I'm hoping that Joe makes it in. Hopefully he can work out the same agreement that he did. Because I think we kind of scared him, so I think he was pretty excited to have his own little space,
I was gonna
which I
say
don't blame him.
he was
Which I
happy
don't
to
blame
be
him.
with us for the time, but then he was very happy that he had an escape plan to go back to
Yes.
his own hatch, his own pod, and be like, okay, I'm away from whatever nonsense is going on over there because I know it's going to be a
Well,
cluster.
when he was ready to shut down, he could go to his space and shut down.
Yep.
Like for us, alternating between both rooms, the night that you and Vinny were up until like almost 4, I think I crashed out at close to 2 o'clock. Uh, it was even hard for me to finally like knock out because I could hear the two of you guys joking, cutting up, kidding around, laughing, and everything else. And finally, my body just said, "Fuck this! I'm going to sleep." But even then, so like I get it for him to when he was ready, hey, you mind taking me? Yeah, sure, not a problem. Hey, man, I really do appreciate it. Dude, it's all good, man. Like, and that was the other reason why I didn't, not that he had to walk very far, but still, it's like, come on. It's a, it was a, what, a 2 minute drive there and a 2 minute drive back at max. So, like a
Yeah.
total of 5 minutes, maybe.
But especially the one
And
night where it was cats and dogs coming down.
yeah. But then again, it's like, I always kept in the back of my mind, hey, when Joe's ready to go, I don't want to be 10 sheets to the wind. Not that anything would technically happen. I'm driving through a parking lot, but it would be, it'd be our luck. Some bullshit would happen considering, what was in the freaking console. It's like, but it is what it is. So, like, I think next year, I think it will be a little bit different. One, I think we need to limit the amount of shit that we took.
And
But
but there again, we were erring on the side of caution, not knowing.
true, true.
But and
But
now we know,
like,
and now we know.
but like, you cut what we take in half, so to speak. We know we can go to a Target. We know we can go to a Walmart when we're there.
Yep.
We did that as it is. We went to Target. We had to get a few things. Uh, some specific things. Ended up with cards too in the process
Of
because
course.
that's what we always think about to a degree. But there were necessities that we needed to acquire. Creamer for my coffee, a box fan because the fucking thermostat and the
Oh.
AC was broken in the other room.
Whew.
Uh, at least it wasn't like miserable. It was bad. It was
As
bad.
it was borderline for me because I do not like heat. I mean, I don't mind heat outside because I expect it. I expect heat inside the not to the extent on Thursday or Wednesday
Oh yeah, God, that was horrible.
or whenever we went that first night. Was it Wednesday we went? Must have been Wednesday we went that
It
first
had
night
to have been. It had to have been.
because that's not correct.
Yeah, that was like that
And then
was
Thursday when we
that
were
was like
looking,
Houston in the summer.
Thursday when we were looking through the box for that greenies table, that when I feel
Yeah, that
sweat
was
dripping
bad
on the
too.
cards, I'm like, huh. I love looking at cards. I love being around my friends. This is
But
we're really dialing it back the other way. Like, how enjoyable is this now? You want me
well,
to just
yeah,
go to the middle of the parking lot and look through cards, or what do we want to do here? Because
well, because in all fairness, I mean, we could have stood there longer than what we did.
oh,
It just got to the point to where it was like, okay, like
you
if
need
I
to.
don't move and find some sort of comfort somewhere, like this, no, they're going to be
Yeah,
calling the EMS on one of us because we're going to pass the fuck out.
and that's the worst part when you, because I've had that happen at like other, like the National in Cleveland and whatever, what, '09? I mean, I just sat there at that one table and I'm looking through boxes, just and you just have to sit there. Okay, I put my stack down. He's like, "Are you done?" I'm like, "No, I just have to back away. I'm just gonna walk 15, 20 feet. I'm gonna come back. I gotta catch my bearings. I feel like I'm gonna drop."
Yeah, that
So
was
I
that was
can't do
harsh.
that, and I don't know
That
who
was
can. Power to you if you can, but
well.
um,
It's not just that though. Standing in one place, like, and
oh yeah, you're just
you're
pretty much
you're
stuck.
you're hunched over some, and then you're up straight, and then you're kind of doing this, and then you're up straight, and then you're hunched over. Like for somebody who has a bad back as it is, like that, that doesn't add to the favorability and the joy of the situation. Like you said, it's great. I like looking at cards. I'm here with my friend We're cutting up, kidding around, freaking showing off each other shit from the stacks. Oh shit, yeah, look at this. Oh yeah, hey, throw that in my stack. But you get to the point to where you're like, I'm fucking miserable.
And
Like
I
it.
think too, we're finding stuff that you really want. We're finding stuff we liked, but you're not finding like, oh my god,
Yeah, I
there's this.
have to.
Holy shit, there's this for whoever amongst it could be you, me, any of the group of the guys that usually are in the chat or people we know.
Yep.
It's not like, holy Christ, there's a Clay Matthews 52 of 75 or something. I'm like, shit, this is huge. It's like you're finding stuff you're like, this is a pretty good deal. This ain't bad. I like this. Oh, I haven't seen one of these ever, but it's not like a $5 something for something you've never seen. It's like a $20. It's like 20. I'll do it. So I've never seen it. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, well, I'm going to wait at the National to see if I can find something similar. I'm like, no, I'm just going to get it now and be done with it. Especially if it's an older insert type thing where, again, for something maybe down the road we have planned or just something that has been in like the bush of thorns in your head. Like, man, I'm going to pick this thorn out and I'm going to get rid of it and have it right here. So,
yeah. Unlike the other boxes where, like, if we, between the two of us, we probably could have bought everything that was there. But at the same time, it's like, okay, do we really need this stuff? Do we really want all this stuff?
I just sold a bunch of this type of stuff.
Probably not. Like, could we have done well? Like, between the two of us, could we have done well? Without a doubt. But at the same time, it's like, was that Friday or was that Saturday?
Probably Friday because I know Saturday we didn't do a ton because I think
we didn't do much.
Scott and Brad, we were sitting in the lobby way talking to them for a while.
So like Friday
when we went to that one corner.
And see, that sounds about right that it was Friday. But like that wasn't in the plans.
I think we went there first. We went there first, and we booked Vinny and C. Stuck around while we went over to TD.
Probably that sounds about right. But like that wasn't in the plans. That's not anything that we talked about. Like you would have ended up with all of it because I flew and I was more concerned about being able to just get back with my stuff anyways, let alone trying to sit there and sort through everything. Okay, yeah. Of this stuff, what do you want? What do I want? What do you want? What do I want? Who goes to where? Do we do joint care packages? Do we want to move this into something else? Like, if we could have been there for 2 weeks type situation and had the opportunities to have those discussions, then maybe something could have come to fruition out of all that. That's nice.
There you go, Eric.
Either of you, really, Eric? Either of you? I'm not Vinny, so I'm not in the same category of either of you. Regardless of what everybody says, I don't do hockey.
Don't let them fool you. That's still the one thing I wish we could have got over there where Joe had picked up that Sakic artist crew for $5. I'm like, that was the table.
But didn't we try to look for it?
No, because that was in that green area. I think we ripped through a lot of that area, but we didn't go to where that green carpet was. Like some sort of seafoam green or some BS.
Why do I think that we attempted to try and locate it and then got sidetracked?
Or maybe you guys did, and I didn't, or I because I know I talked with Michael Shane there for a good while, and
there was so much shit going on though. Like,
and that's if we look at the next one, and there's Beckett is there at that trade night. I'm going to be fanboy for my 5 minutes. Again, we've talked about maybe some of his thoughts and his feelings in the hobby are pretty much antiquated, outdated. They don't resonate with us personally, other folks as well. We've talked about, if you've listened for any length of time, any length, nostalgia. And that's nostalgia for us, sports card wise. I mean, it just, there's nothing else. If I could have my Beckett that is a super collector and signed by James Beckett and get a picture with him and have that like somehow, again, not like a photo box type situation, but something of the sort, that would be cool. That's,
Yeah.
again, where people sit there and, well, it's James Beckett, blah blah. The magazine is, again, say what you want.
It's synonymous with our growing up and experiencing cards as a youth.
If
I
if
mean,
you if you had a card shop or you had a Walmart, a Kmart, I'm trying to think whatever, like a Borders Books, something where you had the magazines and
LCS.
well, I'm just saying, like the periodicals in like a bookstore, like in a Barnes and Noble. But I mean your local
Yeah.
stuff. You were always waiting for that Beckett to come out, and I mean it didn't matter because color, you'd sit there, hot list, cold list, um,
By the
showing,
box.
yep, by the box, big polls, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Like what's this group of guys buying? How much are they buying them for? Where you're like, wow. Again, not that you're ever going to really submit to that, but you're just going to sit there and look and be like, where are these people getting these cards? Because again, we're around here, we see a lot of cards. We haven't seen any of these. Because again,
How many cards do I have on the hot list, on the cold
yep,
list? What do I have going up? And I
it's
still
going
think
down.
I still think it's the funniest fucking thing because, and when you put things into perspective, as a youth, you see the up arrow, you see the down arrows. Oh, it's going up. Oh, it's going down. Well, technically it's already passed. It means that the card went up.
Yep.
It's not going up, it went up. But as kids, when you sat there and you looked through it, it was all, it's going up. Oh, this has got to be something good because it's going up. It's got the up arrow.
And try to get a premium in a trade if you're making a trade. Like, hey, this is going up. It's going to go to, if it's at 12 now, it's either at 15 or 20.
Yep.
So I don't want to get 12 for it. I mean, I got to get more for it because it's heading up. That Todd Van Poppel Leaf Gold rookie. I'm sorry, I can't do less than 20 on that. Or a Juan Guzman 92 Fleer rookie sensation. I'm sorry, guys. It's $30. I mean, so I want to get like 40 out of it.
You're digging deep into the archives with the cards from that era that were
Oh,
freaking hotter than hell.
I remember those like yesterday because there's so much of that stuff that we would just buy the piss out of fucking anything at that time. It
I
was
still
like,
remember when Phil
except
Nevin
except
was,
the jumbos. The jumbos, you couldn't find them that 92 Fleer. And when
yeah,
you
because of the
did,
rookie sensations.
you had all these older guys trying to get those. All they would do, rip it open, do sort of like the Bowman, but they wouldn't even go
Fan it.
through it. They just fan them, see a blue in there. Oh shit, I got one. And they'd be like Orlando Merced, and they're like, looking for Bagwell, Pud, Guzman, or Big Hurt. So Mark
Yeah.
Wohlers, who was a pretty big one at the time, but yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
I didn't do it. Like, there's sometimes I try and like really dig deep into the memory bank as it pertains because like when I first started, it was baseball.
Mm,
that's that's ultimately when I got into collecting. And it was baseball for quite a few years because like my grandmother loved baseball more than she loved football. So that's kind of what resonated with me from a nostalgia
mm.
perspective. And then, of course, it went to football, and it stayed football for a while, and then it went to basketball of all fucking things. Back to football, then it kind of stayed that way with the little mix of basketball and baseball, that type of shit in the mix. But like, I remember like the rookie sensations, seeing them in showcases and things along those lines, and how big they were. But like, not being a baseball guy in the 90s, didn't care. Did I think they were cool as fuck? Yeah. Did I know that they were semi difficult in comparison to a lot of things? I knew it. I knew the stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with the original release of Finest Refractors. Like, you saw them and you saw a big fucking price tags on them, and you're like, why? Mm-hmm. But then as you started hearing conversations and talking to people, whether it be card shows, your LCS, your trade buddies, whatever, which I didn't have, you started realizing that they weren't super easy to get. Mm-hmm. And now, of course, like nowadays, Topps Chrome Update, you get one purple refractor or whatever fucking per pack or some shit or whatever it is. You get where I'm going. Like you took something that was sought after, rare, limited. I don't like using those terms interchangeably, but in essence, that's what they were, to something that's like, they're, who gives a shit? Oh, damn, I pulled a refractor. What do you fucking do? If it's not gold, red, super, whatever, if it's not low serial number, like, woohoo, what do you do? No, nobody cares. Back in the early days, you pulled a refractor. It didn't matter who it was. Hey, I fucking pulled a refractor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was. I'm trying to think the first year. I think I pulled one out of basketball. First year basketball.
That was my first one.
Because I never even saw any of the 93 Finest baseball. There was nothing. And again, it wasn't like we had a ton of card shops in Superior, because I didn't go to the Collectors Connection in Duluth, because again, I was 13, and that's a probably 10-mile bike ride from where I lived across like a huge bridge over the St. Louis Bay, and that connects to Lake Superior. So we did a lot of stupid things at the time, but we had Globe News and we had Sports Zone in Superior. One Globe at the Tower in Belknap, and then Sports Zone was over in the Mariner Mall. So I mean, it's a Mariner Mall. That was 5-6 minute bike ride. Globe News, about 5-6 minute bike ride. So that's where we did all our buying, all our trading, all our selling. Run across other kids that were collecting, older folks too, dads or uncles or whoever it was, and everybody's trading. And most of the time, you knew what the hell was going on. So, but that was something we just didn't see. So I don't know how distribution was back then. That'd be another thing I'd like to find out, how distribution was, because it's not something that
was distribution even a thing in the 90s.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, did somebody just say, hey, because up here, one of the guys that he passed away, Christ, it's like about 25 years ago, I think. But he was the guy that had all the candy and all the cards. So I don't know how that worked, where you're like, hey, this is what I got for football coming out. Let me know what you need. And I mean, was it just like, hey, September we get it? Well, I need more. October I can get it. I need more. December I can get whatever the case may be. It's like, um,
Well,
I
in
don't
all
know.
reality, like distribution was a thing back in those days. Like it was, but
Mhm.
it wasn't there
Allocated.
what there wasn't allocations even through the manufacturers. So
Yeah.
like if you had a brick and mortar store, maybe there was some allocation direct through the manufacturer, but you could get more product through the manufacturer than what you could now. Like nowadays they allocate shit. If you can even get it through the manufacturer for that matter.
Hmm.
Most of it nowadays is all through distribution because like I know from my card shop days, even as a young kid or a younger kid, uh, I had two card shops. All had like I had to be driven. Like there was no bike ride to either one of them. And the one that I frequented most early on, personally, I think the owner was a dick. Like I was just a snotty nosed kid who didn't know shit. And technically I didn't. I was just getting into collecting cards and like I didn't know a lot. So I had a lot of questions.
Hmm.
And it got to the point to where I felt like I was a nuisance. So I started like banking my money into fucking garbage pail kids, which I wish I still had. Um but then of course the other card shop I came like my grandmother stumbled across it because where she went to the grocery store.
Hmm.
And that's the one that I went to all the way until he shut his doors and went into strictly online in an office building type situation. So that's where all the stories come from as it pertains to like insider information, so to speak. But even as a young kid going to the shop, you would hear certain conversations, oh, hey, we're getting low on such and such. Oh, yep, well, I'll make a phone call to X. When you're at that age, you don't understand what X is until you work for the shop and then you realize, oh, okay, now it makes sense. X was one of the distributors.
Hmm.
And then of course you had B2B through Beckett Marketplace, which was, all dealers and shop owners, some distributors, you know, post your wants, hey, looking for X, and you'd get messages coming back saying, yeah, hey, I've got half a case, I can do X amount per box type situation if you buy the case. If not, um, for those who don't know what B2B is, it's business to business. It's just collective for dealers, shop owners, and distributors. Um, but it still makes you wonder how the quote unquote allocation or the buying power or the buying frequency was in the early 90s compared to like what it is now.
Hmm.
I mean, Ryan would be a prime example to be able to give explanations and everything else. But we already know he's got allocations and so on and so forth. And he has to buy some garbage product sometimes in order to get allocation of something that he really wants.
Hmm.
But that's where they get you because I mean, everybody's looking to make a buck. It's what business is. So sometimes you get stuck with garbage that you really don't want. And depending on the size of the shop and how much product you're actually procuring, sometimes can dictate how frequently those situations happen, right? If you're pushing, $100,000 in product on a monthly basis and purchasing, quarter of a million every month, you would think that, they kind of let some shit slide from time to
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
But like we know that purchasing direct through manufacturer is like extremely difficult nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even when like Chris at the Hobby Box / Cards Infinity knew a lot of the tubers, would come and hang out on blog from time to time, things along those lines. He would talk about how well he would only get, one case of allocation through manufacturer. Everything else had to be purchased through distribution.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he like Chris was pushing a shit ton of crap. He's pushing more now than what he did then, but the collective was smaller then though too,
Mm-hmm.
compared to what it is now. There's more people in the space. So, wow, I actually went on a diatribe for once.
It's all right.
I'll shut up now.
So that'd be interesting. I don't know if Jeff might know someone, or we'll figure something out down the road to talk more of that. It'd be nice. Again, even if we could. And again, I haven't talked to the guy the sports zone guy. I haven't talked to forever. I mean, it's been probably 25 years since the last time I was at like sports zone there. I think 2000 is the one where mine down in Virginia, because I had two shops, one there and one in Superior. The one an hour away from me in Ely, that shut down like, I won't say out of nowhere, but I did not know it was going under. So I was like, now what?
Yeah,
So
well, I knew why the first shop I went to closed. Like, I figured that out real fast.
and then yeah,
And instead of selling shit, he was hoarding stuff for his own personal collection because he had it showcased there in the shop. That was, this was his showcase, so to speak, and it was his personal collection. It not for sale. And I couldn't tell you exactly like what he had in there because that was, 40 years ago or almost 40 years ago. But like put things into perspective, I'm sure there was a 52 mantle, like
mhm.
shit like that. But even then, like that, and that's the difficult delineation though, is if you're going to go into business, sometimes you have to let the collecting aspect dissipate.
Not
Not to
completely. I mean, you got to know that ebb and flow, that delicate balance where we can't constantly be, oh, this is a
look
great card. I got to get it for my collection. My
look what
collection.
happened to but look what happened to JT.
Hmm.
It's, and I'm not calling out JT by any stretch of the imagination, but like he had to make a conscious decision. Yes, I'm still a collector at heart. I still like Miggy,
Hmm.
but I can't keep doing this because it's like, yes, I'm doing this for a living. I'm doing this as a business, but how much of my profit can I now then bank into cards for my personal collection? So he's reshifted that focus.
Hmm.
Unlike, Ryan, RBI, Ryan,
Nope, it's still sitting right here.
he has found a way to like completely separate it.
Yeah.
I'm about to open this concerns. It's still packaged.
Oh, get over yourself. She didn't hear me. Out of sight, out of mind. She's been wanting me to ship something, and it's like out of sight, out of fucking mind. Like, she took my scale out of here. So that's one of the other reasons why I haven't mailed it. So it's like it's partially her fault. Making sure she's not out there. But you know, like Ryan has been able to like completely separate it. He's been able to figure it. He's been able to keep that fine line.
Mm-hmm.
This is for this. This is, and he still does it. Neil does it too, but not to the scale of Ryan.
No.
Don't get me wrong. Neil's got some nice shit, some really nice shit. But you know, he's not sinking money into Giannis and Kobe, or I should say LeBron and Jordan, and you know. So
no,
and
then
Neil's
too,
got nice shit.
He's also done I'd say a decent job, sort of like what Michael's done, where you've got something that's PC, not for life, but it's PC, and you're like, oh, I can't see myself getting rid of this. And then all of a sudden another opportunity comes up. It's like, man, I've got X amount into this. I can get twice, 3, maybe 4 times or more as much for this, and then parlay that into like something else. Because I remember he's told the story about the first Jordan auto was one of those upper deck ones, the Carolina. You never think you're going to get rid of that. Christ, that's a Jordan auto, but then you can get this. You can get like some Ultimate Collection or whatever, and then something else, and then you can get rid of that Jordan in like $400, and you can get like whatever it was, some other type of Jordan auto, and you're like, and I'm sure for him that fuels. That's a lot of like that adrenaline fueling, trying to. It's not moving the chess pieces around. It's like trying to do the checkers. You're like, where am I going to jump next? And what am I going to have to take with me to make that jump? And he can do it because now he's got the connections with all these guys around the the country, and it's, and when you have a high end PC too, that also that helps to have some cachet in your back pocket to sit there and like, okay, I want to get this Kobe auto. What's it going to take? Well, I want to get 3 in return. Well, okay, I got 7 that I'm willing to move. What 3 possibly, depending on, and then like if it's over what you expect or what you'd go back, what would you give in return? I mean, I don't need a ton, but you throw a couple hundred on there, or like whatever else. I mean, so again, that's the old Big Donnie, the art of the deal. That's what it is. It's like what brushstrokes can you paint, even if it doesn't look like it's, if to a novice, to somebody on the outside, like, are you getting a good deal? If I feel I'm getting a good deal, because again, the phrase is old as time. When I've got into it, it in my head it makes sense, because if I got this into it, I remember where these were at when I had this one, and I don't have to do much more. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, who gives a shit about the optics to a degree, as long as both parties walk away feeling like they got a good deal.
Yeah.
You know, it's that's all that matters at the end of the day. But, you know, you got you still have people out there conveying certain optics or showing certain optics. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's not the same concept or the same idea, but when you see certain things or hear certain things and the optics just seem off, it makes you wonder.
Or if you
What
got
was
something
the
perfect.
well, what was the purpose of this? Does this really make logical sense? And depending on the answer to those questions, ultimately dictates what is being conveyed to people who don't fully understand the ins and outs of the hobby or they're new to the hobby. When you sit there and you go,
I'll be right back.
okay, well, you're going to make me talk to myself. This is fun. Little help in the chat here, folks. When you ask yourself, does this make sense? If this were me and this was my trade, would I make this trade? The answer is yes. Why would I make this trade? Is it really, do both parties walk away being satisfied? And depending on situation and circumstance, this goes back to what I talked about last week. It's, you know, people conveying one thing which is not always fully the truth. And that still continues to bother me to this day, that too many people, I'm not going like the positivity police or the positivity party because some of these people do somewhat share the down and the negativity aspect. But it still bothers me. Too many people paint the picture that is not 100% reality. It's never going to be 100% reality. No, see, and that's, both of you walked away being satisfied. So, like, in that trade, you know, you sharing the details of said trade with Dave and I, like, that was reasonable. Like, if given the situation and if it was players that I collected or Dave collected, like, we would still do that deal. So in those situations, like, that's easily able to be justified and answering the questions of, would I make this trade if it were me? Did both people walk away feeling satisfied? And in your situation, 100%, because it was both, like, you could have felt like you got the better deal. The other person could have felt like they got the better deal. But at the end of the day, you shook hands, you made the transaction, all went well, both were happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's some of the other shit that we continue to see that you're like, why? This makes no sense. And we all know it's for clicks, likes, you know, ad revenue, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I just, suggestion for anybody out there. Do you want to be an influencer? An actual legit decent influencer? It's not about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's the $100, the $400, those type of trades, those type of transactions. That's the reality. That is more the reality than tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. and the $1 million cards and everything else. That is a small piece to the pie. The largest piece of the pie, you're still in the hundreds, small and lower thousands. Focus on that. Show those deals. Show those purchases.
Who?
Because that really is more the reality.
Well, if you're influencing people, who are you influencing with a Steph Curry NTRPA for like a 53 tops mantle? Who among the general collecting populace is going to be pulling out their 2 rows and be like, hey, I want to make one of those deals?
Yeah.
I'll give you the answer. Nobody. You pull out a Bryce Young Leaf auto or a Panini auto, whatever it is, whoever signed him. You pull out like a Wembanyama Prism something. You pull out like a Topps Gold, Julio Rodriguez, and you pull out Dwayne Wade auto. Those are cards the average collecting schlub, no matter what you collect, can say, if I were to really want one of those cards, maybe a few, maybe all, if I were to pool my resources together, I could feasibly get those.
Yeah, my entire collection couldn't sniff a Steph Curry NTRPA rookie.
No.
And I've been collecting for 40 years. Then again, like, I don't have comma cards. I don't. That's not what I went after. Plus,
No.
I stuck in football. So, like, comma cards in football were a very small percentage for a lot of years.
Yep.
A lot of years. Outside of, your SPs from the 50s and everything else, your Unituses and your Jim Lansford SPs and Bronco, Nagurski, and all those type of guys, that was still pushing the comma type notations. But, outside of Walter Payton, the Donruss Elite passing the torch duel of Payton and, is it Sanders? It is Sanders. Or one of the short print autos numbered to like 34 on card from like Fleer or whatever. Some of those earlier Fleer products. $1,000? Like, no fucking way is a card worth $1,000.
97 Legends.
But that even took some time to get to that level.
It did, but there was like 1 or 2 in there. I don't name it at the time or Unitas. There's a couple in there that were like at that 6 to 8 to 12.
Yeah, they were up there. I mean, they were up there, but it still took them a little bit to, cascade to close to the comma conversation. Granted, comma cards are more of a thing. They're more prevalent these days. A lot of that has to do with grading, but they're more prevalent. But you're seeing instead of your 4-digit comma cards, you're seeing more of the 5-digit comma cards being a lot more of the mainstay these days. Which still like blows my mind when you put things into perspective. Like when I bought my Flawless 101 TD at the price point that I did, never in a million years did I think that I could probably get like anywhere between $3 and $4 grand for it, potentially, to the right collector. Not in a million years would I ever thought that it would get to that.
No.
$800, 900, 950, maybe hit that 1,000. Maybe. Not once would I ever think that it would reach the plateau of what it could. And I'm speculating because it's not like I've got offers at, coming in on my flawless 101. I said last week the only way that I'd let it go is if somebody traded me straight up for a PMG green, and that's never going to happen because like it's way off. But that's okay because to me that's what it would take, and a lot of it has to do with the story. The story means more than what the card is actually worth. So, but
No,
I digress.
Stuff like that. Again, thankfully, I've done something Vinny. I don't know if Vinny has done or not. I know he watches the IRP in replay more than all of us combined. I know that. But like otherwise, I haven't watched. I still gotta watch Michael's video from I don't even know how many weeks ago now. I haven't even seen that.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list.
I'm trying to think who. Brad, I saw a video or two.
Oh, my watch later list is now up to like 40 videos or some shit, I think.
And I should start making that because I think the last watch later stuff I've got. Again, I'm glad you're sitting down. It's a big fish video from I don't know when. And then there's another Michael video that I think he's got DVDs he's showing off.
So old shit.
Well past 10 years ago. So it's just something I never think of putting like, hey, watch later. Just put it there and not now it's in the memory bank. And I think there's like a Denny's got one like the third. So I just haven't watched anything and really cared to watch anything.
Bad choice of words. I don't think that's exactly what you mean, that you don't care to watch.
Well,
It's not piquing your interest. It's not piquing your interest.
It's not on the top of my not to-do list, but the interest isn't peaked. It's just you hear the same stuff over the same amount of time. It's like even like Hobby Box, there's stuff I'm like I've seen the screenshot or whatever. I'm like, I really need to watch this, and I don't.
I stopped doing that.
I mean, there's stuff I want to watch because I want to see a couple new products or do whatever and just sort of be up to date with a couple things. But I look and meh.
The one thing I like.
Let me watch some tornado videos from 1974. Let me do that. That seems like a better a use of my time.
The one thing I like about, at least with Watch Later, if like I don't have something on the DVR to catch up on, or something isn't piquing my interest to watch that's on TV, I can stream it to my TV in my bedroom and I can just let it go. And it goes in order that you have, and they play. And that's usually how I get through quite a few of them. But even then, when you get up to 30 and 40 videos or whatever, let's say average of 10 minutes, that's a lot of watch time. So, and that's unfortunate, Michael, because like, especially with like all the shit that you're sharing and showing. But on the flip side, like, to a degree, it's hard to find an hour to actually dedicate to just watching the video. Like, if you're sitting there watching TV or whatever, you can kind of be doing other things. Watching a card video, if you look away or you step, like, you could miss something. So that's one in which, like, for me, I need to make sure I have that time dedicated to where I don't have anything else going on. I know I don't have any distractions. The only distraction I have is, oh shit, I want a cigarette, so I can pause it, go smoke, come back, and pick it back up. And Michael, look, I get it. We've talked about that though too. I don't make videos for anybody else other than myself. That's that. It's not hard to pick up because I'm not, I'm showing off cards from a historical perspective. So I have a history of those pickups for however long, whatever. Yes, people watch it and I appreciate it and I get comments and everything else and like much appreciated. But I don't make them for anybody else. I make them for me. And like, I feel like there are a lot of people out there that make videos for themselves. They're not doing it for views. They're not doing it for likes. They could be doing it for connections, which is perfectly fine. Why would you not? That's what we stand for, making connections, building friendships. But why else would you make it? If you're trying to monetize and make money off of it, okay, fine, I get it. But to me, that takes away some of the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, just my opinions, my 2 cents. But at the end of the day, I make videos for myself. The only time I don't make videos for myself is when somebody sends me something. Then I make it for them because they deserve that. But outside of that, I don't give a shit if nobody watches it. But it's there for posterity.
And that's not saying that I'm going to not go back and watch. If Joey's got something up, or Scott, Scotty, Andy, Carlos. I mean, I've said it before, I have to be in the right mood to listen to the stuff, watch the stuff. I care about it, but I have to care about it to the point I feel comfortable caring about it. I can't just put the token effort and be like, oh, I watched your video. Oh, no. I know if somebody watches mine, I don't want them to watch 2 minutes and be like, oh, I watched it. No, well, you turned it on. That's what you did. You push play, and then you're like, too long. I'm done. Don't watch it. I don't care. It's something that we reiterate at every turn. We're not for everyone. If you don't want to watch us, don't. Don't. We're not going to placate like other folks out there to constantly try to bring you in and then take something from you because that's what we do. We'll give you knowledge. We'll give you 2.5 to 3 hours at a time where you can just sit there and put on some headphones and maybe chuckle, maybe cringe, maybe say, man, how these two people have anybody around them that even give a shit about them with some of the stuff they say. Or like, I'm glad I have these people in my life because they're like-minded, maybe a little crass with the language, maybe a little foul-mouthed, maybe a little bit of the oracle comes out in them in the hockey sense, but they try not to shine that shoe too much. Yeah, it's springtime. I mean, your nose itches quite a bit down there in Texas. I know.
There, is that better? Would you just like me to throw it up there?
Well, those are gang signs, and I don't promote gang signs here. That's the Boston Philharmonic gang sign. Eric told me that. So,
But that's
yeah,
the other thing, Stu, is like education,
hmm
like bringing something to the forefront that some people don't know about. Orlando does that too.
hmm
So like, and Carlos has talked about this. Like there are multiple forms of content, and I'm using the air quotes because I really hate that fucking term. You're making videos. You collect collector, educational, informative, uh, combination of everything. Uh, like there's so many aspects in this small little niche section of YouTube when it comes to card collecting. Like nothing is wrong. Not everything is right, but nothing is wrong.
hmm
If you feel good about it, then what does it matter? It's your channel. You do with it what you want. I will throw one caveat out there. If your channel is dedicated to sports collectibles, sports card collecting, memorabilia collecting, TTM, anything in the hobby space from sports, keep your channel at that. Don't start going into politics. Don't start going into religion. Like, keep that shit separate. And yes, I'm getting on my little soapbox here briefly. That's the one thing that we always tell our guests. There is nothing that is off topic here. If every other word wants to be fuck, then whatever floats your boat. Nothing is off topic except for politics and religion. It's not allowed. But like, if you want to talk about the other stuff, create another channel. Don't interject opinions or beliefs onto other people that are there for sports related videos. Just don't do it. And no, I'm not calling out anybody in particular. I'm not like, this is not me going on a tangent and focusing on a specific individual. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm going with here. I'm just stating you do this because you enjoy it. You want to share information. You want to show cards, collecting tips, whatever. But keep the other shit out of it. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. And I'm all for people's opinions and beliefs and everything else. But keep it out of the sports collecting world. Please and thank you. For anybody who stumbles across this in the archives and they're wanting to go into the space, just create a different channel.
Yep.
Keep it out of this. I'm a spiritual person. So like I have an appreciation for some of it. My beliefs are probably different than a lot of people's, and that's fine. But I also don't share them. I don't speak about it, not in broadcast, but like just keep them separate, please and thank you.
Yeah, because we've heard before, and again, other folks, oh, we lost subscribers because we talked about this or that, or when it pertains to those two subjects. Well, again, they're not exactly, and again, this is my interpretation, mine. They're not exactly the two most positive subjects. There are attributes about them that are positive, in my opinion. But for most people in this day and age, I believe there is at least some sort of negative connotation, especially politics. That is a nightmare amongst itself, and on every level. That's just, I don't just stick to the president or it. Everything is just a dumpster fire. But same with religion too. There's a lot of stuff in there that I could go on and on about. I choose not to. I'm very strongly geared toward certain things with religion, and I choose not to because we've got friends that are religious folks. They believe in that. They practice. We've always said it's not going to affect our friendship, and until you start pushing on our plate. When you push on our plate, then we push back.
Yep.
But everybody's been pretty good with that. We're all grown adults. We're all in our late 30s, 40s. We're all pretty much in the shoes that we're gonna walk until we don't walk anymore. You're not gonna sit there and tell us something and like some magical epiphany is gonna happen. Oh man, I really didn't think of it that way. Well, thank you. Again, we can see it from your point of view, through your experiences, through your upbringing, but
And we respect that.
yep, it just when it comes to that stuff, you do not. I don't care why you do what you do. When you start talking about why you do what you do, I gotta take the miracle ears out. And if you keep telling me, then we got some trouble. 'Cause I don't care. That will not affect my existence.
Well,
I just want you to be a happy person with whatever you're doing, whatever you think is the right path. Perfect.
yeah, more power to you. Stuke has he's dead on. In all practical purposes, the hobby is supposed to be a great escape from just the day to day bullshit,
Hmm.
whether it be the negativity in the news, like work, home life, family. Like it's supposed to, I don't want to call it an escape from reality. To a degree, it kind of is because we're staring at, cards with grown men on them.
It's like a
Um,
getaway.
that's kind of what I was looking at. It is like a getaway because we get. I'm speaking from my perspective. Like you get immersed in, when you're looking through cards, regardless of the sport. You start reminiscing, or you start thinking about games that you've been to, games that you've watched.
Hmm.
You just, you see certain players, and you're like, oh yeah, and it takes you back to a moment in time to where like for me personally it doesn't happen as frequently as what it used to when I was a kid because like I don't know. As we get older, our minds kind of we think differently, of course. But I still find myself, like looking at certain things. I may not go back to remembering a specific game or watching a player play or maybe uh, a specific point in time uh, where you know you were watching a team and yet this player doesn't play for that. Like it's nothing along. It's more along the lines of I remember when I got said card. Like it just kind of like sometimes it just rushes back. Not like exact date, time. Like I'm not going to that extreme because like my mind can't handle that shit. But I can go back and say, be like, you know what? I remember when I got that.
Oh.
It was such and such year, blah blah. Like, or you look at a card and be like, hey, I remember when I remember pulling that card. If you open product,
Mm-hmm.
because like there's two cards in my collection that every time when I audit my collection every year, which is when I integrate all the stuff from the past year, there's two cards. And I sit there and I look at them for a while because it's actually there's three cards, one of which I don't look at as frequently as the other two because one's a memorabilia card and I don't add a lot of jerseys. All the jersey stuff and patches are like later years, so I don't bother to look at some of the earlier stuff. But there's two cards from '97 that I pulled, and I remember pulling them. '97 Excalibur, 22 karat black Magnum Knights of Terrell Davis,
Mm-hmm.
and the Topps Chrome. Uh, I'm probably gonna fuck up the name, but it's the draft years, the refractor of Curtis Martin and Terrell Davis.
Draft class and draft years.
I see that I said I'm probably going to butcher it, but I pulled both of those cards. And yes, I've pulled base cards and stuff like that, but like I've never. Those are the only two insert or parallel cards that I've ever pulled.
Mm.
The memorabilia is a triple jersey of TD, Gary, and Elway out of Donruss Classics. And I remember where I bought the box, and I remember who I was with, and where I was working. And I didn't buy the whole box. I bought the mini box.
Mm-hmm. Because those became very popular at the time for like the mid-end, lower high end. When I say lower, like finest type products, where you had that and you had your sort of guaranteed.
Yep, you had your guaranteed hit per mini box or guaranteed hits per mini box. Like, but outside of that, like that's the only. I've never pulled an autograph, which I probably won't ever because like I won't pay the prices to give myself a chance or an opportunity. But I can at least say two insert parallels and the memorabilia. Not horrible.
Yeah.
Not everybody can say that if they're a player collector. Unless you're Bobby Avcop 13, who got lucky and pulled all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking mystery packs either, folks. I'm talking like he would buy product and freaking get like that guy had the best fucking luck ever. Ever. Granted, he had really good luck at mystery packs too, but
Yeah.
like he was one of those collectors that, and like the reason why I'm thinking of Bobby, I was it no Sunday after we did dinner with the kids. I don't know. I went on a nostalgia spree. I pulled up the favorite video list on YouTube, and I started watching some of my favorited videos. All of like, which 90% of them are all care packages that I've sent to people. And I went and watched all the videos that were still available from Christmas packages that I sent in 2011, all with the same note. I kept it simple. But like Bobby talking about, as a collector, yes, getting cards from favorite, like your favorite players, means a shit ton. But he always wanted to pull them.
Hmm.
He's like, anybody can go buy a card. I would rather pull them. They mean that much more, because he was all about the memories and the nostalgia and that type of stuff when it came to a lot of his stuff. Like my very first John Elway autograph came from Bobby,
Hmm.
and it was from UD Premier, and it's one that he pulled. So, like, at the time, it was my first Elway auto, individual auto for the Broncos auto collection, but it meant that much more because it was something that he pulled. I now have two, thanks to Amish Dave Archer. I have multiples, but not when it comes just to the Broncos auto collection.
Yeah.
There's only two. So
No, at some point there's a lot of folks I want to get on here. It's not for lack of trying. Believe me, if you could see the behind the scenes trying to finagle and trying to, not that we don't love the people we get on here. There's a lot of, if we could have them every week, we would. We know that's just not a possibility. There's so many other stories I know the community, especially folks that aren't familiar with a lot of these guys, they would enjoy, because they're just, everybody's just like us. It's not a highfalutin, high rolling uh, douchebag. They're just regular schlubs like us, collecting players and sets that they like, buying stuff when they can or when they could, and just trying to get them on. You have to worry about other folks' schedules, their families, their prior obligations, and then dealing with folks that just like, I I, I don't think people want to listen to me. I don't have anything to say. I'm not interesting. And that's one of the things I get, I don't want to say tired of, but it's something where I'm always in the boat of, if I'm asking you, it's not because I'm desperate. There's a lot of people I haven't asked yet. And it's just in due time, when we have subject matter or a topic that we could integrate folks on. I mean, I don't want to get example. I don't want to get Orlando on here and be like, hey, let's talk about the Prism print run in football this year. That's going to be something he's probably not going to know too much about.
Or care for that matter.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like you don't want to just sit there and it's like feed people to the sharks when. Well, what do you want to talk about? Well, let's bring on. Let's see here. Let's bring on Joey. Let's bring on Paul, and we're going to talk about the last 20, 30 years of wrestling, year by year. Paul will deviate from that in the first 5 seconds. Joey will talk about whoever Joey followed and probably the Attitude Era. I'd imagine when a lot of us did watch wrestling, or a lot of the folks that don't watch wrestling now did then. It you just don't want to go at it scattershot. A lot of times our broadcasts seem that way. Especially early on, it was pretty much, I don't know, like pulling the tail of a monkey and watching it just go fucking running around a room. That's all it was. Just literally the old adage of flying by the seat of your pants. Well, this is true, Paul. That's true.
So I got a text, just FYI. I got a text from Ryan.
Well, good. He does what he's told, because I said, hey, if you're going to let somebody know, text Steve, because I use my phone for the broadcast, so I will not be able to see whatever you've got going on.
Yep, putting the kids down. He's shooting for between 9:15 and 9:20. So I just wanted to make sure I gave the update in case, people are sticking around waiting for that conversation. Because nobody's hanging around for us. I mean,
No, God, no. It'll take 3 minutes, Paul. You don't need 3 hours.
Oh, but Paul could probably turn it into 3 hours.
I believe that. Don't worry. I fully believe that.
Hey, early on though, scattershot conversations, it could be interesting. Get people on, not give them a topic, and freaking go out in left fucking field.
Yeah.
Sometimes those create good conversations because then you really have no idea where the hell the conversation is going to go.
And usually that's what our stuff is. It's
well, unless it's Jeff.
Well, he goes off in left field, and he'll get on the track, and then like a wayward hobo on an Amtrak, he'll see like a grassy knoll over there, and like maybe an oasis, and fuck this, I see that over there. I'm ditching the train and get my stick and my kerchief full of my Pinnacle Artist Group and Pacific Premier dates. Like, where I'm going over there? Fuck this.
But we have topics. Like,
yeah,
this is what we're going to talk about. He may deviate while we're talking about said topic, but he's allowed to do that because he's the guest and he can do whatever the hell he wants. Just like anybody else, like within reason. We try not to let it go too far off the rails. But with Jeff, like, we kind of let him just go with the flow because we never know what great stories we're going to get. So we don't ever want to interrupt or like, hey, Jeff, like left turn back to where we were. No.
Before we forget about what we were talking about.
Keep going. Keep going. This is great. Which I know we'll probably have him on in the near future because we're coming up on hockey playoffs.
Yep.
I'm sure Dave's already got that in the works. Maybe,
Yeah,
perhaps.
we've discussed things, trying to set stuff up.
Well, and I know. So I know you have yours. Has Vinny mentioned if he has his yet? His book, Kramer's book.
I don't think so. That I
I
can
keep
remember.
I keep asking my wife, any tracking? Any tracking? I think she just still hasn't bought it yet. Because I know there's a like we want to get Mike back on,
hmm
but after we've all read the book, we don't
Yeah,
want to bring him on and talk certain stories and certain things from the book without us reading the book. Have you started reading said book?
no.
I didn't
Wait,
think so, but I wanted to ask, and if you had, I wanted to, get a little bit of insight, like how's it going? What are you thinking? You know, not looking for detail. I wasn't going to be asking for details and specifics because I wouldn't want you to give away anything, right? Like, because I want to read it. Even though my wife swears up and down, what? You asked for a book, you don't read. Under normal circumstances, you're right. I don't read.
correct.
But this is something that like has to do with my hobby. I loved the product.
And be
Quit
like,
making excuses. Order the fucking book.
that'll be the right time. Put that episode on. Be like, this guy is the book. He wrote the book that I want you to order. This is why it's important. We had him on our show.
And it's no different if Jeff ends up writing his book that he's been talking about. Like, I want that fucking book.
I'd like
It's
a dozen of them. Sign them all. Give them
well, and
away on here or in
like
person to some former collectors.
there's a website you can order uh, signed copies of Kramer's book. I stumbled across it somewhere where you can get a personally signed copy of the book from Kramer. But it's like, why would I want to do that? I'd rather order the book and then like send it to him to sign it. Because then to me, that's personally signed.
Yep.
It'd be the same thing with Jeff. Like, I'd rather buy the book, send it to Jeff, or better yet, meet Jeff and have him sign it in person.
hmm
Like, goes back to Bobby and, wanting to pull his certain players, like I would rather be sitting right there in front of him having a conversation while he's signing my book. Call me crazy. I don't know. But that to me is same thing with Kramer, Of course, I'd be a fucking bubbling fucking idiot. Like a freaking, some crazed freaking psycho fan being in his presence. Like giddy as hell. I just like I don't know.
I think he's had to deal with at least one of those.
Yeah, but there's a difference.
I'm just.
There's a difference. Mine
I'm
would be
saying.
honest. Mine would be honest and sincere, not trying to get anything out of it either.
I know.
I mean, when we had him on, and some of the things that we had an opportunity to say were genuine. We weren't kissing the man's ass.
No.
We weren't brown nosing. Okay, maybe we were brown nosing, but not. It was legitimate. It was for good cause. It was for good reason. Compliments were honest and sincere.
And
Had nothing to do with what he could do for us.
so you know what we wanted to get out of it?
A
Him coming on the
conversation.
show another time,
A conversation.
having a conversation and a quasi interview.
Yep.
That isn't your normal, just boring, boring, run of the mill, same bullshit.
No,
You want
and Jeff.
if you want to tell the same stories that have been told on other platforms, fine. We're gonna get into some of the different nuts and bolts of the situation. We're not gonna sit there and
Yeah, Jeff freaking nailed that out of the fucking ballpark, man. That was probably one of our best ideas ever. Letting him run it. Speaking of which, I need to go back and watch that episode. Just to go back and watch it. Because we said very little. It was Jeff and Mike, the majority of that show.
Mhm.
And the fact that Mike wanted to keep going.
I know that was a thing. It's like
And it's we made sure that we kept an eye on the time because we always focus on that when it comes to Jeff. Like
Yep.
he has a regiment that he has to follow through on. And I'm sure Mike does too. But his regiment may be different than Jeff's.
mhm.
So like we all would have loved to just let it go because we
Yep.
probably could have gone on for another hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. But we take pride in paying attention to other people's needs in those situations.
Yeah.
Jeff is very important to us. We know his timeline, we know his time frame. He stayed on a little bit longer than what he normally did because the conversation was great. And if it wasn't for his routine, he would have stayed.
Mhm.
But we didn't feel right to carry on the show with us and Mike without having Jeff there. Because Jeff was the reason that all of that came to fruition.
Mhm.
And we owed that to Jeff. So and we love Jeff.
This is correct.
Never in a million years, even though he's been on the show a few times, would we have thought that in his downtime he'd show up from time to time and contribute to the chat. It's and that happened through this. Dave reaching out, going out on a whim, and like a friendship was formed. Hands down. Of course, Dave talks to him more than we do, but that's not by design. That's not by choice. Do you talk to him on Messenger?
Text.
So you have his number.
Yeah.
It's not like Dave couldn't ask Jeff, hey, you mind if I give your number to Vinny or Steve? And he would be cool with it. But like I feel like Vinny would probably have more to talk to Jeff about than like me, for instance. Jeff's a hockey guy, mostly a hockey guy. Can't say fully. He's mostly a hockey guy, not completely.
Well, so are you.
No, I'm not. Our guest has arrived. And he's having a beer. Is that a Yingling? I can't hear you talk. I was just asking.
Yeah.
Oh, he's drinking Dos Equis.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
It's not bad. You are good though, Ryan. I can pull you on. All right, bringing you on.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
What's going on?
I was expecting a response in Spanish. Let's try that again.
Yeah.
¿Cómo estás?
Hola.
Muy,
I
muy,
haven't taken Spanish in like 20 something years, man. I'm a little rusty these days.
muy bien would have been sufficient.
Dos Equis.
Yeah.
I figure if I'm gonna drink a beer, I'm gonna drink a beer with Steve Krett. I'm gonna drink some Steve Weisers with Steve.
Yeah, but come on, man.
I do like Yingling. I don't dislike Yingling. I do like Yingling. It's a good beer. I just prefer me Dos Equis right now. I'm in a Dos Equis kick.
Well, when I meet up with my buddy, he drinks Dos Equis on tap, fully dressed. So I usually join him in that. So and all that beer, salt, and a lime is all it is. But it's on tap.
No lime for me. That's no lime. Don't need a lime for this beer. It's not good of a beer. So
I don't need it either, but you know,
yeah, gets a little flavor. It does. So what's up? How's it going, guys? How you been?
Been good. Been good.
Good. Well, thanks for having me on. The kids are down, hopefully.
Other than emergency appendectomies for my wife. Outside of that, it's been good.
Sorry to hear that. Everything okay?
It's fine now, but
At the time.
yeah, 2 weeks removed tomorrow.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it's super fast and easy. Surgery's like an hour and 10 minutes.
An outpatient surgery, I guess. Go home.
Yeah, she got sent home. I was trying to think. Surgery was about 1-ish because she insisted I still take my kid to the dentist.
Okay.
So I wasn't there. But went in like 1-ish. Surgery was about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. I got a phone call while I was on the way to the dentist from the surgeon telling me that it all went well. And I think by the time we got done at the dentist and I got back to the hospital, they were bringing her discharge papers.
Damn.
Granted, we were there at
10
we were there at 10 o'clock that morning, but in all fairness, like pretty damn quick from start to finish.
It's good.
So, but I know Dave has topics.
Yes, Dave.
So I will let Dave bring up said topics.
And I have breaking news for you, Steve. Yeah, you talking to you. I will be at the Dallas Card Show May 17th on Friday with my wife for just the day. But I got to fly back that evening, so I'm flying in Thursday for an event at Leaf. But then her and I will be there on Friday. So I'm telling you this time that I'm going to be in Dallas or Allen, Texas, for a brief period of time. So now it's your job to not give me shit and get there.
Can you text me to remind me?
I will text you to remind you. Yes, I'll text you to remind you. But I was told specifically last time I was on here, I was getting yelled at, quote unquote, because I didn't tell you I was in town. So I'm telling you I'm in town.
Yelling is not the correct term, sir.
You're being
Expressing-
raising your voice at me about me not telling you.
Expressing my
Dissatisfaction.
displeasure.
You were being admonished. It was like high school when you didn't finish a report
Yeah.
and you're saying, "Hey, I was busy. I was watching Randy Moss jump over some defensive back." Well, that doesn't
Yes.
work, Mr. Bannister. You know this.
Good old Moss, man. Miss me some Moss. So
Hey, that
all
works
right.
too, Stuke.
So all right, what are we here to talk about? What do you want? Let me do this again. What do you want to talk about?
I don't want to. And I'm again. I am the biggest Cody Rhodes guy. I've been that way since probably 2011, 2012 when I had my meningitis. That was I could watch SmackDown in the hospital. I was happy with that. And that's when he had the dashing Cody Rhodes with the face mask, the old Rip Hamilton mask. And I listen to Cornette. That's the one guy I listen to out of the wrestling sphere, podcast wise. I don't listen to like 83 Weeks. I don't listen to Pritchard's thing. Once in a great while I might listen to Jeff Jarrett,
Okay.
but I don't. Kevin Nash. It's very small blurbs. Cornette I can listen to all the time. I think there's a lot of similarities between me and him that if people like us, they like us. If they don't, oh, you will know that immediately. So listening to him, and we usually share the sort of same thought process on this. It's like when you listen to Punk talk, you can tell it's something that's not memorized. It's off the cuff, but it flows so well. The one with Drew the other week that was insane, where he's like, "Well, I'm the chosen one." Well, what bastion of virtue gave you that? Tell us, wise one. Who told you you're the chosen one? And that smirk on Drew's face when it's like, "Oh, Vince McMahon did." And you can't say Vince McMahon, so you're just sitting there, and if you know, you know. So when you got stuff like that, I get excited because I'm a huge Punk guy too. I know a lot of guys aren't. I know you're a Rollins guy. Tyler Black. I still call him Tyler Black. It's very tough for me to get away from the Ring of Honor. And then you like that Viper guy. You've always liked that Viper guy.
Yes.
That's the thing with Rhodes, though. It's good, bordering on great, but you can tell it's really rehearsed.
Yeah, I can see that.
And again, there's nobody that's a bigger Rhodes fan than I. When driving down to St. Paul in 2016 when he had his list out when he got released from the WWF.
Santino Marella, he's funny. Never been a fan, but he's hilarious.
Don't all that stuff behind Ryan is Santino Marella memorabilia.
That is, yes.
Don't let him fool you. So going there and meeting Cody Rhodes and having my Bo Dallas shirt on, and I'm standing behind him in the line for the hotel. And he looks back at me. He's like, "Oh, all you got to do," I said, "is believe." And when I met him later that night, he's like, "I thought you were part of the ring crew." That's why I didn't talk with you, because I thought, well, I was going to see you here and setting up the ring or whatever. And I was like, "No, I'm just a fan. Drove 4 hours to see you." And he's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Hey, you got a lot of shit on your plate. I'm just happy I get this moment now." So, I want to see good things at WrestleMania. I think this is probably the most amped I've been for WrestleMania since maybe the Guerrero and the Benoit one of like WrestleMania 20, if not WrestleMania like 18, with The Rock and Hogan, Stone Cold, and Scott Hall, and it's like, okay, you're building the shit the way it's supposed to be built.
Yes.
You've got storylines, and you've got people buying into the storylines. So, what is your thoughts? I know we've listened to, at least I have, last couple episodes. I got in a rut there where I hadn't listened to any of your Kicking with the Crew.
Yep.
Tyson and his wardrobe just threw me for a loop for a while. So
Yep. That was a little different switch. That's all Neil on that.
well, Neil's got to add a little bit to it.
He
So
does.
what do you think of everything that's going on leading up to WrestleMania? What are your thoughts? How are you feeling about it? Not only as a show, but as like a big Orton guy, and he's in that triple threat. So
Yeah.
well,
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I am with you. I am beyond fired up. I'm ready for it. What's going on? Let's see what's up, man. I am beyond. I think this is going to be. It's setting up to, obviously the Rock's saying the greatest WrestleMania ever. This is setting up to be something special.
mhm.
I think the reason being is last year had so much potential to be great, and Saturday night was great. Sunday sucked. And I think everybody, even they knew that, and they felt the WWE universe, as they would call it, backlash about that. But it was just a fan watching. It was like, man, it was like Saturday was so great, and then here's Sunday, and I'm like, really? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm laying there on so Saturday we host party at our house. We invite our staff, friends, and family to the WrestleMania on Saturday. On Sunday, we get the air mattress out, and I watch it with the kids and my wife, and it's a whole ordeal. And Parker got to stay up late. And when Cody lost, I was like, this is awesome. Like, nobody, like, this is what, and he's like, wait, you wanted Rowan to win? I'm like, yes, this is great. Like, everybody expected Cody to win. And I think that was great how everybody was like, oh my God, he didn't win. How great would that be if he didn't win again? How awesome would that be? I'm kind of curious where they're going to play this right now because there's so much. We go from a month ago where Rock's back in the picture and all of a sudden he's getting backlash and everybody's like, Cody deserves it. You're screwing over Cody, the Cody, what do we call him? The Cody Crybabies. Yes, that's it. And now this new Rock that we haven't seen in a long time is just freaking amazing on TV. He's such a bad heel, and it's great, and he's entertaining, and he's still got it. There's no question. He's one of the greats of all time. We have now another shift kind of back towards like people are like, The Rock's a badass. We forgot how much we really care about The Rock versus everybody wanted Cody. Now we're seeing a little switch, and I think they can play this angle. I think that, Roman can leave WrestleMania and go break Hogan's record now, and I think the trajectory has changed on people. Oh, Cody deserves it. He deserves it. If he doesn't win, Cody's, in my mind, back in the line, which isn't true, but you don't get this many chances and don't come out on top. So I'm really curious how this is going to play out. I'm excited that obviously Seth is fighting that match. I think that they could play a couple angles with it. I think they could have Seth and Cody end up winning because then you remove the bloodline rules on Sunday for Reigns against Cody. But how else would it be if Reigns Rock win, then Reigns win the next night, and then they're just so dominant. They're more dominant now than ever. How do you make them look weak when they've been so winning for so long? And, out there, Roman hasn't lost with nobody like The Rock on his side. He's always had like, Jimmy or Jay or Solo. The Rock is a different animal. So I don't know. I'm really curious how that's going to play out. But there's so many amazing matches. I was talking to my staff today, and I'm like, look, even some of these like 8-way matches and these 6-ways, all stuff, it's like those are going to be good matches. Like they're not like you're not like excited to watch them, but they're still going to be good to watch because they're the right people to fit in those matches. I think you're going to see the women's matches really shine. I'm excited for the Becky Rhea. I think a lot of people are pumped for that. I'm not as excited for Bailey and Io, but I think because I've watched Io when Io fought against Bianca when Io should have won at what pay-per-view was, I can't remember. Was that the
was that the Puerto Rico? The Puerto Rico
that was
one?
it. Yeah, that was Puerto Rico one. Yeah. When I watched her, I was like, oh my God, this girl, like you're seeing her firsthand, what she can do in a ring. And Bailey's so, such a veteran. So it's not like is exciting, but there's so much building up. There's so many storylines is what I'm trying to say. There's so many great storylines building into everything. And I don't know, Steve, if you've been following it or not, but they've done a great job really Zero. That's about what I thought you'd say. They've done a
No,
great
little.
job. Very little. Oh, very little. He's a little guy. Little guy. Little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy there. So I think they've done a phenomenal job from the road to WrestleMania, which kicks off at Rumble, telling all these stories to lead up in the 60 days or 40, what is it, 60 days or whatever it is from Rumble to Mania, give or take. They've done such a great job. This past Monday Night Raw was great. What a way to open the segment. I loved how it was like almost 30 minutes without a commercial. It was just, it's being done right. And I think a lot of the vibe and the buzz is the Attitude Era has returned. And I think we're all excited to see this version of WWE that we haven't seen in a very, very long time come back. And I think that has a lot to do with TKO owning it. And I think a lot to do with Hunter being Triple H, Paul Levesque being so involved with it. And he's such a creative mind. What they're doing with it now, I'm with you, Dave. It is, and I've been a wrestling fan for a very long time, and I have not been this amped up. And I get amped up every year for Mania. It doesn't matter. It's the Super Bowl of wrestling. Yeah. But it is just so exciting every day that gets closer to it, knowing like, holy crap, we're now 5 days away, or was it 5? Yeah, 5 days away, or 4. Wait, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, 4 days. See, I'm losing my count. So it's building up to be something great in 2 nights, and I can't wait.
See, I haven't watched the shows, but since I'm subscribed to WWE, I do pay attention to some of the segments and stuff. More along the line, I'm more intrigued with the Cody, Seth, Bloodline, because that's the big storyline. Could this be the end of the Bloodline going into WrestleMania? What does this look like?
Yes.
You know what I mean? But like you said, there's so many ways that they can play this. Yes. Not just to WrestleMania, but even going into SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Because I mean, as a wrestling fan, not as
What's up, Michael?
Not as much as what I once was. This, like you said, this leading up to WrestleMania through Rumble and everything else, this is the shit that I enjoyed back in the old times and the 90s, the Attitude Era, where like so many things could play out. Like this could go so many different ways. And sometimes it ends up like, oh, well, shit, I didn't think about that one. Wow, this is really getting interesting. Yeah. So I enjoyed The Rock a ton during that time. So I'm intrigued to really see how this plays out. So I haven't watched the opening segment for Raw, this past Raw yet. Because like you said, I didn't realize it was 30 minutes. But in thumbing through YouTube, I saw one of the things and I'm like, okay, yep, I got to watch this because it's leading up. Like what's going on, what was said, what's the angles, like.
Yeah.
So I am intrigued, and I've always said I watch the Raw after WrestleMania. That is the one show every year that I will always watch.
And last year wasn't a great Raw for WrestleMania, so I'm hoping that's fixed this year as well.
Yeah. It wasn't, but at the same time, you kind of get an idea of what's coming next.
Yeah.
And it's always that way. And depending on how WrestleMania ends and how it falls into place, the Raw after WrestleMania will ultimately dictate what it's gonna look like leading into SummerSlam.
Yes, correct.
Usually,
yeah. Usually, and the one thing, yeah, like you're saying, it's kind of right now things are so unpredictable versus the predictability it's been for a long time. It's awesome. It's like, Neil and I were just like, oh, this is what's going to happen. We would just know. It's just watching wrestling your whole life and watching WWE for so long. Now we have that after last year. Like I said, Cody lost to Roman when everybody's like, oh, he's finishing the story. And he didn't. I think there's so many angles to play for the unpredictability of this year's Mania. I mean, I do think like one of the things, I think Logan Paul leaves with the belt. I think that is Orton is at that point in his career, and Kevin Owens also older. Logan Paul's gifted. He is a hell of a wrestler, and he's got so much heat on him. It's great. He's a natural. And a lot of people don't want to admit that, but when you watch him, he's natural, and you got to respect that. Just because you don't like somebody, some time, those people you didn't like end up becoming to like. So, but I think that's a match where that's going to make Logan look good. He's going to obviously cheat the win in a way, but I think that's a predictable one that there's no point of putting that belt on Kevin Owens or Orton. They don't need that belt at all. But is that going to be a great match all around? 100%. I think it's going to be done right. And Logan Paul is going to be able to carry a lot of the athleticism in that match due to Kevin Owens and Randy Orton's age. So I think that's one you can put on the stamp it that's going to be predictable. The one that I don't know right now is Gunther and Sami Zayn. And I don't know. I know Triple H wants Gunther to end up being the world champion one day. He is in love with Gunther. He is nothing but high praise, and Gunther is just incredible. So my question being is, does Sami finally get over the hump and win this? Does Gunther drop it so then he can go on to bigger and better things? This could be that moment because of the reign he's been on. Or I could just see Gunther winning again. I can't figure this one out. The biggest wild card right now is Damian Priest. What is he going to do with the money in the bank? It makes the most sense for the storyline built up for him to cash in on if Drew wins, and I feel Drew is going to beat Seth Rollins. Every ounce of my body says that, but I can see him getting his WrestleMania moment that he's been talking about, and then Damian Priest cashes in on him. But then you could see other angles of it. It's awesome from that standpoint to just – you think you know what's going to happen, but you don't know. And the biggest we don't know factor is how are they playing this, again, this Cody Roman on Sunday? How is this going to play out? Are The Rock and Roman going to get into it in the match that causes them to lose and that Cody and Seth win to eliminate bloodline rules? There's so many things that you're like, can this happen? Versus, that's going to happen right now. And I think that's what I'm most excited about. Do I think Bayley's going to leave as champion? Yes, I do. I feel Rhea's going to continue to carry. There's no point of putting it on Becky at all, even though I think that's going to be a phenomenal fucking match. Pardon my French, but I'm excited about this, man. This is what I live for. Look at you.
Does Solo turn? Does Solo turn on Roman?
I don't.
I think it's the other way. I think Cody and Seth. And again, that's a predictable thing, but how do you go from when Cody came back to those matches they had, the heat they had together?
Yeah,
Cody,
I think Seth turns on him.
I know you're fighting a common enemy, but Seth's got to be like, I want to be the top of the mountain too. I mean, in a logical fan's mind, you're thinking that, like, hey, what happened to the Seth Rollins? I want to be the guy. I've got the belt. I got the working belt. Whatever you want to call it, that's great. He's got the Universal title. Universe.
Yeah.
Not world. Universe.
Which is the most prestigious one. Well, the top of the top. I mean, you're not going to get that's the big one you're chasing. So we could see that angle. My thing is Seth. How serious is the injury that he was cleared for? Is he going to need surgery after this? Is that something where he steps away? And then you're like, okay, well, you got this Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud going on. Is Drew going to walk out and they're not going to have a Damian Priest cash in so they can build up Drew versus CM Punk, which should be a match building up to? Again, I love what they're doing. I love the spinoffs. They're leaving you on the edge of your seat going, way are they going to shift this? And as you said, Steve, Monday Night Raw should lead into more things leading up to SummerSlam eventually. So,
for the first time again in so many years, unpredictability.
Yes,
where we watched Raw, we watched Nitro. Why? Who's showing up? What's happening? Who's turning on who? We didn't know. When we saw it, we were like, holy shit, that just happened.
Oh yeah.
And now, after 20 plus years of pretty much, I mean, you could have done something with Cena. The WrestleMania match was at Wyatt and him when he put the NWO garb on.
Yeah.
It's just, I marked out because I'm like, somebody somewhere is getting it in this moment. Mm-hmm. They're seeing it. So when you have that type of situation, you're hoping that you flushed out all the stupid people, the Kevin Dunns, the Vince McMahons, the Laurinaitis. I think Pritchard's still somewhere floating around.
I believe so.
But if he is, I'm hoping not in a position of like anybody that's going to be telling somebody this is what you need to be doing. It's like, hey, your brother love, you're over there, you're a legend. if I could see Priest cashing in on Gunther, I could see Priest cashing in on Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
If he were to win, I mean, I don't know. It's just so much intrigue. There's so many variables. There's so many options. It's AJ Styles looks like fucking the Incredible Hulk. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, and that's not even a match anybody's talking about. And you'd think like a year ago, if you said LA Knight AJ Styles at WrestleMania, you'd be like, holy shit, that's gonna be a fucking good match.
Should be a good match.
And AJ Styles.
Yep.
And people, that's not even a match people are even on their radar.
No, another match that a lot of people are barely talking about is Jimmy and Jey Uso. I mean, that's going to be a well done match, man.
Huge.
You know, there's so many. You know, I'm actually, let me see if I can pull up the WrestleMania list because I know there's a lot because they even moved the Andre the Giant out. Battle Royals on SmackDown now.
Well, see, that thing hasn't been on even the pre-show for the last how many years?
It's been a mess, man. It's been
Plus,
a
you
mess.
get people who are like, you get Tyson, I mean Otis in there, and it's like people that you don't want to see. I get it though.
Priest only has so much more time before he basically loses the Money in the Bank cash-in opportunity.
He's got to cash in before the next Money in the Bank. He's got to cash it in before, which comes up very soon, actually. Let me find. I'm trying to find the card here, just because I know there's a lot we haven't discussed, and that's the fun. That's the great thing about this
tag team ladder match. I know that somewhere amongst all the fun.
We'll go to images and see if that pulls up easier. There's a lot we're not addressing. Everything is just the main matches, obviously, but now you got Jade Cargill fighting with wrestling, which is a big deal. Her first match in WWE. She's gifted, man. She's athlete, and they got her ready. I mean, like that. Here's the point. Think of how dominant she was in AEW, and she didn't know how to really wrestle. And now she's over here, and they got her trained. And I mean, like she's gonna do some special stuff, man. I'm just looking here. Here we go. There's more.
She's got that charisma too. I mean, she's got that it factor. I mean, you look at her and you're like, that's a star. I don't care who it is. That's a star. And she just doesn't. She walks the ring, and you're like, that's your future.
Yep, she's gonna have a bright future with them. It's just again, there's like you said, the tag team matches. You've got I can't get the thing to pull up all the matches. I found it earlier and had like a whole list of everything, and now I can't find it. It's driving me nuts. What appearance are we going to see? Are we going to see John Cena there? Are we going to see Stone Cold there? Is Undertaker they're going to make an appearance? Obviously not wrestling, but the biggest thing is Triple H going to interfere with the Rock Roman match. With the heat there, is he going to help them? We don't. That's the best part. I'm excited about that, and we haven't had that in a very, very, very long time with wrestling. I mean,
do we see Dustin?
That is the biggest what if, and that all comes down to Tony Khan. And
well, I know, and that's the thing. Like, is this the opportunity that presents itself for a crossover storyline in where like things could get really interesting for both?
The biggest question I say to that is it's one thing when Tony Khan is playing ball with the Ring of Honor and Impact, all the guys that are honestly below AEW. This is, AEW is going up against their number one rival, who is the Juggernaut, who is the Titan. And does that make Tony Khan look weak, or does it make him look? It's just like letting him Dustin do that is the big question. And Tony Khan's got to make that happen. I would love to see it. I think everybody would love to see it. Then I'd be like more prone, like, okay, Cody can win now. The Dustin's here. I think that's awesome to share that moment. But I personally would not be upset if Roman walked out of Mania as the champ, continuously being the champ. The story with him is incredible. I just watched the Roman Reigns documentary on Sunday. Very well done. We're going to finish with the Bray Wyatt tomorrow. We were watching that one tonight. I finally got around to watching that. That's incredible and heartbreaking at the same time. But back to my point being is what Roman's done with his career to get where he is, to build in this character he is now. I don't want to go away. I don't want him to look weak. Obviously, he always had help. And I think beating Hulk Hogan's record, I'm okay with. Nobody's going to beat Bruno Sammartino. Nobody.
No.
That's not going to happen. By then, everybody like, okay, shoot me. This is going on. But I think Hogan's record can be beat at SummerSlam, from my understanding. And I believe that's correct. And I'm 100% on board with that happening, which means Cody has to lose. But another chapter in your book, Cody. You got to finish the story at some point in your life. But I mean,
Not today.
not today. So I see that happening? Absolutely, especially with how dominant they're making Rock and Roman look right now, and how they're they're making Seth and Cody look little and beating the living piss out of them. But also, is it a mind game of Seth and Cody to let them think you can beat us around, but really we're smarter than you? I don't freaking know, and that's what I love about this right now.
Yes.
And
weight belt. Watching weight belt this past Monday. I don't want to give too much away for you, Steve, if you want to watch. My back hurt after that.
Oh yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, don't ruin it.
I'm just saying, weight belts. You'll be dancing around your living room holding your back, because it was.
You can see the welt and you could hear it, and it was like there's only so much you can fake, and that right there, you knew that one. But you're selling and you're creating an incredible story, but you're taking a beating on your body like no other. So that was, I did not see that planning out, but I'm like, I thought they were going to make Cody and Seth look a little stronger, the way that Seth. Well, I can't really say much. Go to road here for Stevie.
Well, you don't have to, like, you can still, like, I'm still gonna watch it regardless. So
it is brutal. I mean, think of the Giant when he'd lay in those knife edge slaps on the chest, how fucking hard and how loud they were. I mean, I was getting up and I'm just like, oh, no, oh, then you hear it just sounds like somebody just slapping the fucking taste out of somebody's mouth. I'm like, holy shit.
Just when you think it was over, it was not over.
Yeah,
There was more coming.
Teeing off and just like, bam, rapid fire. And I'm like, then you can hear the thud because it's like wrapping around the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, God. But that leads me to believe that they're going to get the win at least on Saturday night, because you can't make these guys look like just fucking trash. No matter how strong you make the heels look. I mean, wrestling logic to a degree, you can't sit there and I mean, yeah, if it's Gilbert against fucking Stone Cold, yeah, you're not going to do that. Or Marty Jannetty when he was facing against Shawn Michaels. Yeah, you might give him a win because Michaels DQ, or he runs himself into the turnbuckle and you get a quick roll up, but that's more like the luck of the 1-2-3 kid. This needs to be more of mano-y-mano. You can't sit there and constantly be just taken behind the woodshed, and Rock comes out smiling and fucking adjusting his glasses, and there's Cody who looks like he got fucking run over by a steamroller. I mean, at some point, I want you to finish the story, Cody, but you're going to finish it not like the fucking like 24/7 title winner. That's
exactly the way it's looking right now. And
win.
Hey, but the biggest question is what did Rock say to Cody? Obviously, that remember he said something and nobody knows right now. What if this is all planned out the whole time to go take down Roman? That's there again. Back to so many angles to play this. That would be okay. That happens. Okay, I'm okay with now Cody winning. Like I feel like there's so much. if they tell the right story and it's done right, I'm okay with any outcome, may that be Cody or Roman. I don't have a dog in the fight. Obviously, I anticipate both my guys losing at Mania. One's going to drop a belt. One does not need the United States title in his career. So I'm just, as a fan, just eager to watch all these matches, and hopefully they can all live up to expectations. I mean, because I think we all can agree after last year. I mean, as much as I love the Seth Logan Paul match, that triple threat match of Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre, in my mind, stole the show.
By
And that
far.
was no match compared to how incredible that was. And now we don't even have Sheamus. Where is Sheamus these days? Is he hurt? Okay. So, I mean, and I think Gunther and Sami Zayn, again, going to be a phenomenal match. I mean, like, these guys, I just think that's what we're building up to. I think that WWE understands we need to – this is WrestleMania 40. This is a big number to get to. It's in increments of 10. We're not at 50 yet. But we let everybody down last year on night 2. How do we make it better this year? I don't know. I'm pumped for it. I can't wait. I'm going to work like a half day that day because it's my day to work. Neil's off. Of course, Neil just took a long vacation, comes back, works like a day and a half, and then's off. But I got a host, so I got to come on and get my house ready. But I'm already telling people pre-show starts at 4. You could be here at 4 to start watching and start drinking some Steve Weisers with me because I'm ready to go right at 4 o'clock. Like, I'm ready to go. It's a national holiday, man. But it's 2 days. It's the best part. It's a 2-day holiday. I just want two amazing nights. That's all I want. I want back-to-back nights. I want it to go. Oh, night 1 was better, but night 2 was so close. But night 2 is better for this versus night 1. I don't want to go. Night 1 kicked its ass. Night 2 sucked again, or vice versa. I just want to have 2 good nights, and I think we're going to have 2 amazing main events both nights. I hope.
I'd love night 1 to be like, there's no fucking way night 2 can top that. Then night 2 top, and you're like, I'm spent. I have to take a week off because that was emotionally draining, and I want to lose my voice. I want to be 12 again, where you're like, what's happening? I don't know. I'm fucking into it. I don't care if it's predetermined. I don't care. That's what you always get with the people. It's fake. It's predetermined. Yeah. And sometimes CM Punk fucking up his arm at Royal Rumble, you got to throw a wrench in the plan. So now you got to do something different. So it's predetermined, but it's not.
I think CM Punk. I think CM Punk was designed to win that Rumble, and I don't think there was a question behind it. I think that's why they had to call an audible with Cody, and that's why we are where we are. And the universe took over and had a voice, but I don't think that was the initial plan the whole time. And I wonder if Cody. I don't know. Was there a plan B if CM Punk got hurt, or was it all just pull out your ass, see what happens, and start pointing up at Roman like you're not supposed to? I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, obviously, only the wrestlers know, the people within WWE, but I really think that was a big change because we were setting up CM Punk for Seth Rollins, which would have been fucking awesome. Like, I wanted that, and obviously, I'm not a big CM Punk fan. I'm not, but I think he is the best on the mic and hands down, and I will give him that. I'm not big on him as a wrestler, but man, nobody can hang with that guy on the mic. And I mean, I don't think The Rock can hang with CM Punk, and The Rock's one of the best too. The CM Punk is just like, he's just quick-witted, and he can, like you said, he's off script, but he's that damn good off script. So we were going to get that match, and I think that's why then they called the audible for Drew, which, again, I'm okay with. I like Drew. I think Drew's had a career to where he's had to, from being the chosen one to being a 3MB guy and then bouncing around and the indies and then really revamping himself. And I respect his journey more than I respect Cody's journey because Cody left by choice. Drew was, we don't want nothing to do with you, and had to, it was basically like, almost like being like his first round draft pick to where like you never lived up to the hype, and then you went back in the minor. Say you were drafted like a shortstop. Like, let's use Matt Bush for an example. Was drafted number 1 overall to be a shortstop, and then never mounted. Then had to revamp himself. Got into some legal troubles, which isn't this case, but revamped. Came back as a pitcher better than ever. revamped himself to live on to his career. And I think that's what Drew McIntyre did versus Cody went and rebranded himself. Don't get me wrong, which was awesome for him, but I think it's different when you leave like CM Punk did. And I get, everybody was open arms to CM Punk. I was happy to see. I'm happy. I haven't heard the interview yet, but I heard it was amazing what he just did and basically just lighting the fire under AEW's ass. And I started really liking AEW, and man, they really have dropped the ball the past few years. I just can't get into it anymore. I've just been like, I liked where things were going, and you guys just went left field there, and you lost me as a fan.
It's brutal. And again, with Cornette, they tee off on both. They tee off on everything, but a lot more with that because of Tony Khan's inability to be a man and fucking tell the Jacksons, Mike and Nick, the Young Bucks, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. You guys are not great wrestlers.
No,
you bring Okada in, you put him with them, and you get the big pop the first night with Okada. You bring him out with the Young Bucks the next show, and it's fucking crickets because you're with the Young Bucks and nobody gives a shit.
Nobody gives. Everybody's done with the Young Bucks, and you lost so much because of them speaking their mind and really just kind of getting everybody kicked to the curb and out there. And you're hearing a lot of rumblings now. A lot of guys, I've heard a lot of rumors that Edge is unhappy there. A lot of people aren't happy there when they love to go there. And it's, I didn't want to see Edge go there, but I get he probably want to go to the Battle Christian. And I love the matches they've been having, the storyline they've had. That's the only interesting thing to it because you don't have the most interesting guy in the company right now, MJF. He's out. That's another reason. Only one of the few things I paid attention was to him but I don't want MJF going to WWE because WWE he would just get buried, and he needs to stay at AEW because man, he is just one of the best heels I've seen in a very long time since Orton was the dominant heel, and I think that's what AEW cannot afford to lose MJF. If they lose MJF, you might as well sink the damn ship because you've lost. That is your homegrown talent. And if he leaves the company, it's one thing bringing CM Punk in and CM Punk saying, yeah, I'm done with these 10-year-olds, basically like these childs, who's been in this industry a long time for somebody that has basically cried and eat, sleep, and breathe AEW. You lose him, you're done, in my opinion. And I think it's going to happen eventually. I don't think Tony Khan knows his hand from his ass. And I think it's starting to really show that he's letting other people influence his decisions. And if you're going to, like you said, if you're going to be a man and run a company, regardless of what Vince McMahon did behind closed doors, the man was a freaking visionary. He was intelligent and he took this industry. I mean, he was they were close to being, I just got done watching the Bret Hart documentary a week ago, and WWE was getting destroyed by WCW. It was almost to the point where WWE was getting close to, they were done. And all of a sudden you saw WCW here and WWE, and it just started getting like this out of nowhere, just shift and shot because you started letting Kevin Nash and those other people influence and control and think that they were above creative and everything of that nature, and you just saw the collapse. And I see AEW, unfortunately, starting to kind of go down that same path, and I hope it doesn't happen because WWE can't take on all these other wrestlers, but you want to see that rival because I think AEW was the good rival the WWE needed at a time where WWE was like, there's nobody even close competing with us. Ring of Honor isn't competing with us. TNA isn't. Nobody. Here comes AEW. AEW is building up, getting stronger and better years ago, and it started to rival WWE. And I think that's when things started shifting within WWE to we need to stop doing this shit. We got to do something differently because these guys are coming out of nowhere and they got money. They can do things. And we don't want to see the same thing happen where we're neck and neck and we could be going the other way. And I'm glad that it's just, I mean, still WWE is up here. There's AEW, but now it's like this. It's to my analogy.
You can have a 90-inch TV and they're not even in the same picture.
No, it was getting close there for a while. And I will say that it was entertaining. They had a lot of great things going. Getting Daniel Bryan over there was key. Bringing over some other wrestlers. There were some really good matches. You're bringing guys over from New Japan who really aren't being seen over here to see the true talent they have. But in a nutshell, I think you've lost your lackluster and I don't know if you're going to get that back.
No, and the big key, and I've told anybody that's been like, oh, how's like the lead up to WrestleMania if they don't watch? I said, I hate saying this, but it's very on point with it. It's like the old South Park episode when they're all going to be wrestlers and they all just sit in the backyard cutting promos on each other with like the lighting and the dramatic, like the view. I'm like, it's what it's like, but it's working. WWF, it's working. Then you have some of these physical segments. AEW are just like, hey, here's a dream match. Okay, I love it, but then what? Then what?
The Cardona Edge you're referring to, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Anderson, and then what the hell's it? Suzuki, the guy that like, fuck yeah, that's a match I want to see. Then what?
Then nothing. Then what? Like you have it.
Another dream match. I'm like,
there's no storyline with it. There's just a random dream match, and
I can do that, but I mean, I want something to lead up to that dream match. But like, Danielson saying, "Hey, I've followed you forever. You were one of my idols." Whatever the case may be, say something instead of Tony Khan just playing fucking fantasy booker.
I don't disagree, man. I mean, do you think a lot of us do right now with MJF out of the picture because they have a great storyline built up when he comes back with him and Adam Cole. I think that's something that could bring interest back. But what do you go from there? Who else do you have that's really interesting and intriguing? I mean, you've done the Bryan Danielson, you've done the John Moxley, you've done the Edge Christian. I mean, what else is there? I mean, what else is there? I mean, really.
Watching Darby Allin die, that's about the only thing.
Yeah, Darby Allin's but I think he's taking some time off from dying. I think,
he broke his ankle or something.
I know, dude. I mean, Darby Allin, yeah, he's great. He's killing himself, and it's awesome to see. He's like a younger, much skinnier version of Mick Foley out there, just putting himself through pain. Ooh. And it's entertaining. But I mean, that's my point with AEW. It's like you can name 5 or 10 tops, and then it's like who in the WWE are like it's just a juggernaut, and they've just done a phenomenal job. Now you bring back one of the greats in The Rock, and it's the storyline that they've shifted in the past month has just been incredible, and the character that they've created with him was like we've never seen before. We've seen heel Rock, but we haven't seen this heel Rock before, and he's bigger and better than ever, and he's I don't know. You could just hear it on Monday. You could hear the crowd, Rocky. I mean, like, even at the end, they were saying Rocky sucks, but I mean, they're still
saying something.
Yeah, they're saying something. It's The Rock has just gotten so many people to like my wife's like, ooh, Rock, I'm watching, like we had our neighbor friends over because we were doing this kid scavenger hunt, and I was like, you're all still here. I'm putting on Raw at 7:00. You're going to sit in my living room. If you're going to watch wrestling right now, because I'm not going to get text and alerts and social media things how I didn't get to see the opening segment. So I was there just sitting there a little like, okay. And I'm like, and then I had to have rebuttals like, this is staged. Like it's fake, but it's great. It's a men's soap opera. Let me enjoy it. And we're just having a good time with it. So, but I mean, I'm thoroughly looking forward to this weekend, man. It hasn't dawned on me yet. It really is not. It doesn't feel like it's almost here, and this has been built up for so long. It's almost here, man.
I know. I'm amped. Like I said, most amped I've been for any WrestleMania in at least 20, 24 years, 23 years. Yeah. So,
yeah.
MJF Royal Rumble 2025. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Okay, I like that. I hope that happens.
If it's back up, and again, I know they had it not too long ago in Boston because that was the one where Nash came out as Diesel, and I think Booker T came out.
Yeah,
back up in that Northeast area.
Yep.
He's
from. Yeah, he's from there. Yeah.
You imagine that pop in Brooklyn at that Barclays Center or something. Yeah. Oh boy.
That would be amazing. And I think you'd see the dominoes officially fall for AEW, and I'm okay with that. And I think the WWE would have an amazing storyline ready for him. I don't think they're going to let that one fall under the radar.
I think if Triple H got his hands on MJF, that you want to talk about you guys squandered him? You guys squandered him over there?
Yeah.
Okay. This
Yeah.
I put the casket, I'm lowering it into the ground. You guys are done.
If he crosses the line, if he crosses over, I mean, then nobody's safe. If he has been such an AEW guy, if he crosses over, which I mean, the amount of money that they would probably pay him, the amount of endorsements he would get, the amount of exposure he would get. I mean, you're still playing. I mean, let's be honest. You've got the NFL and the WWE, and you got the UFL and AEW. That's how I view it as now. Or you got the MLS as AEW and the UEFA as the WWE. You're still not even on the same level of talent and exposure and what it could do. And MJF and the WWE would make so much more money on endorsements, especially with all the fanatics dealing with sports athletes now, and they get a profit of their whatever percentages. I mean, now that they're on WWE, it's just going to be massive merchandise, everything. I hope it happens, man. I really do, and I want to see AEW go bye.
And if Wardlow came with them, I'd be very happy because they're fucking. They'd have to. He'd be a good NXT guy to start off with, but I mean, I think they could do wonders with him after AEW fucking absolutely dropped the ball on him.
I mean, that shows you anything. Like I said earlier, Jade Cargill, how she was the most dominant female over there, was like the Goldberg of women, and gets to WWE, and they're like, you don't know how to wrestle. But yet she over there was so dominant, and they didn't even know how to teach her how to wrestle, but she was that dominant. And WWE gets her hands on her. That was a big deal. What up, Vinny? What's up, man?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
I'm heavy on the ish.
that you are. Technology.
Yeah.
So Dave, now you turned off your video somehow.
I know. Hold on. Dude, it's been a struggle bust from Hades.
Just as a suggestion, if you feel up to it, you could create a StreamYard link and not go live and send me the link, and we could watch WrestleMania. Since you'll play it on your TV, you can tell your phone, so I can watch.
So you're not going to even try. You only have Peacock, you cheap ass?
No, that is one streaming, one of the few streaming ones that we don't have.
WrestleMania is on Peacock?
Oh, yeah.
The network, WWE Network's part of that.
Yeah.
We have every fucking thing else.
I'll put my phone in front of my TV, Steve, and I'll put it on for you.
There you go, Stevie. There you go. You can watch
it.
Yeah,
but you have really no interest in wrestling, though, Vinny. So, like,
hashtag truth.
It would be more interesting for Dave to do it.
And it'd be commentary that you could not pass up ever.
Probably true.
Just throwing that out there. Like, I'd watch it with you. Just make sure your phone is plugged in and charged. So, like,
there you go. You can watch it now.
Well, that works.
There you
too.
go. Michael, there you go.
They don't.
I don't think they're one of the like lockdowns. Oh, you can only use 2. I think it's pretty much a free for all.
I mean, that works too. I'd be watching it from my laptop since, the TV in the bedroom is not a smart TV. But that's still okay.
There you go. Problem solved.
Well, like I wasn't gonna make that as a suggestion, but I'm all for that too.
There you go.
Option.
There you go.
How's business?
Yeah, it has been. I was gonna say booming for Ben, but I didn't want to say it. It's booming. Business is booming. No, it has truly been insane. I just ran the first quarter numbers. Our in store is just thriving. We're gaining. We have not lost a week yet all year. We gained last week going up against being open on Sunday of last year because of Easter, and Easter's was this weekend coming up last year. So picking up that week, I'm going up against a 6-day week and only doing it 5 and picking up a hefty, nice number. It was like a 15% gain on the week was key in store. And I just monitor, I monitor obviously online in store, but I'm telling you guys, the transactions are up, the more people in the hobby, it continues to grow week in and week out. I know I think I get on here and say this every time, but it's the honest truth. I'm a numbers freak and I study it, and I just cannot fathom how it continues to do well. We had it was Tuesday day, close on Mondays. Most Tuesdays we're doing 25, 35, maybe 40 transactions. We did over 60 transactions in store today. It was nonstop from the moment we opened to the moment we closed. We had a phenomenal Tuesday, one of the bigger Tuesdays we've had in a while without selling anything crazy. It was just a good overall day in store. The online's been nonstop. I can't believe how it just continues to stay hot after Christmas. I just feel like every week I'm like, there's going to be a slowdown. We're going to hit that slow point. There's going to be some slow months, and we just haven't hit it yet. And it's awesome to see. So now I'm talking to other shops across the nation, and they're saying the same thing. So it's not just sales are up. There's more transactions. There's just more people that are really getting into it and still walking in like, hey, I'm new to the hobby, or I didn't know you guys were here, and all that stuff. And we're just keen on building relationships when you walk in. Our focus is you, the collector. When you walk in, I've got an amazing team that really takes the time and says, okay, what are you looking for? Well, hang on, you're looking for hockey. We got Otis over here and Tyson. He could tell you everything about hockey. He can help you out, and I knew you'd get that, Dave. But I mean, we've got an amazing team that really is knowledgeable in as many aspects of the industry, of all industries, to where we can really talk to them about what they're looking for, their needs, and I think that's something that we can offer that a lot of shops that aren't willing to educate or have a team that does that. And I think that's what sets us apart, is that we're here for you. Our business is that way. And even though Neil and I are behind the scenes in the back, that we still pop up. We have an amazing family within our store that is really loves coming into work, that loves being there. They don't even call it a job. They love it, and you see the dedication. So I think that goes hand in hand with the success of the growing of the store, which Neil and I, when we first started, it was Neil and I for many, many years. And you walked in, it was Neil and I. You got Neil and I. That was your customer. And I just remember Neil always says, do you remember the days when we just prayed somebody would walk in the door? And I'm like, yeah, now we have people that we open the door at 10 o'clock and they're out there ready to come in. So it's been an amazing journey, and you guys have been along, this ride with us since before we had the store, since my college days. And I mean, what are we going on? Like, started YouTube 17 years ago, roughly, almost 17 years ago. So it's been an amazing journey, and it's not been easy. It's been there's been struggling years, but now that everything the past 5, 6 years have really just been a blessing in disguise. And it's just like, when is it going to slow down? I keep asking myself that, and it just hasn't. And one of these days I'll accept that maybe it's not, and maybe that's a good thing. And maybe I can go off in the sunset and retire at a younger age. But what would I do? I love this. I breathe this. I live this. Everybody asks me, like, what's your, plan? When do you want to retire? I'm like, I don't work a day in my life. So what's the point of retiring? I love what I do. And I get to do something every friggin' day of my life. But do I work like a madman? Absolutely. Do I do so much behind the scenes now? 100%. And I'm learning to let go of a lot of things that are within my store because of the amazing people that we have, an amazing team. And I've just learned to let go and realize, like, hey, I need to be doing this behind the scenes now. And I've got people that can represent RBICRU7, because when it started, it was Neil and I. And now it's a whole team. I mean, we have in the teams of employees, and it's wild to say that. And I don't know, and Neil can contest. He's been on vacation, so otherwise he would have been on tonight with me. He gets his last day of vacation tomorrow, but I think he will agree with me in everything I just said, even though he would probably say like 3 words. because I wouldn't let him talk. So
I agree.
Facts.
exactly, facts. Yes. So yeah.
Well-
no, it's been awesome, man.
Well, 'cause
How often?
you've always been the spokesperson, though, to a degree. You've always
Yeah.
been the voice.
The
So,
voice of the
like-
voiceless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you like that. I don't think Steve got it. Do you? No. He's like, this is what I work with every week, Ryan.
That would be fine. I'd take you over the people I work with. Believe me. That's how often do you go back on like YouTube and look at some of those early, not when you were in the rental or whatever it was, the little house, but like when you guys started up and you're like, hey, we started a card shop, and you're like looking at what you had for product and like the space there, you're like, holy shit, this. Not to use like the whatever the DJ Khaled or whatever the Drake, we started at the bottom, and it's like you look at that and you show some of these people maybe that okay, they're on your team, but they don't necessarily know your journey. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you see what we got here? Take a gander at this 10-minute video on YouTube. Just sit there and watch. That's all I want you to do, and be like, that's. And after that, I'm sure they've got to be, if you've shown it, like you always understand that business isn't fucking gonna come over the gate just on fire. I mean that rarely happens. But to see, and we've said it before when you guys have been on, the fucking grind you guys had. It wasn't just like popping on once in a while. I mean, you guys are trying to get on blog anytime somebody else wasn't on there, like of the usual suspects. You didn't have
Yeah.
like Ben Break, and you didn't have like Denny Break, and you didn't have like Tyson and Z on there. All of like, I won't say our group, but it was like a big bubble of the people that we usually. It must have been what, 60 people, 70 that were usually in some sort of group that intermingled. But you guys were going on whenever you could, just fucking hustling in the good sense, trying to like. I mean, it wasn't like steps like it's Rocky, but those steps up to that Liberty Bell, each step was like 3 steps. So now, I don't know if you consider yourself at the Liberty Bell or near that, but how does that feel, and how do you? Because again, you're not going to sit there and like tote and pipe off to your customers or whatever, and like, hey, this is where we started, and like stand in the corner all proud and smug. You're like, this is something that if you're willing to put the man hours in, the woman hour, whatever, you're putting the hours in, the sweat equity as it was, you can achieve this shit. It's obviously not going to be a fucking easy road to hoe, but if you want that dream, this is literal proof. You've got to meet all these people, all these superstars. You go to the Upper Deck conference, you get seats at that Lakers game, and you're spitting
Yeah.
distance from LeBron, and
Yeah, that was me indulging a little bit, and I don't do that
that's
too often.
fine though. That's the thing. You've earned it. It's not like you're sitting there and everybody else gets, hey, what do you get for Christmas? Well, I got a Little Debbie snack cake, and Ryan went to fucking Cabo for 2 weeks. You understand that everybody in that store plays an absolutely integral part in the success of RBICRU7. But I just want to know how, if you've shown them those early videos of the struggle.
No, actually, I mean, like, obviously, there's only one other person that could say they've been there since the get-go. Besides Neil, that's Tyson. He's obviously been there since the foundation when we were getting everything ready for the store. So, no, I really haven't. It really, watch our YouTube videos to see. But I think a lot of them, are either friends or family that have known me for a long time have known that where ultimately where our grassroots started. And it was in Florida, Missouri for the first 8 years, paying $400 a month for the first so many. 500 and 600 was the most I paid for rent. I still had that mentality of I borrowed $6,000 from one of my best friends and built the business from the ground up. I had no credit cards or anything like that. There was I learned the hard way, basically when we started that business before that and got into credit card trouble, got it fixed, turned my life around. But I'm glad I learned the hard way, and it really taught me so much more. So as we continue to grow, then we started getting credit cards, and then we started using those towards manufacturers to run stuff. But point being is, I never used money that I maybe got through PayPal working capital or anything incorrectly. I used it wisely every time. I used it to purchase inventory. I still had the same mentality of we got to spend every waking dollar to spend to make more money. I'm going to invest everything into this that I have, and I still continue to invest and to want to envision to grow. And that's never changed. The mentality of that has never, the landscape of that has never changed, but also the mindset and I guess I try to be as humble as I can because I do know where I came from. You guys saw where we came from, and we never had money. Neil and I both never had money. I don't come from a family with money. And when I tell people the true story, when I sat down with Michael Rubin for 30 minutes face to face, because I got that opportunity at the National, I was given, don't know how, but I was given that opportunity. I told him my story, and he literally was just, wow, because he similarities, came up from the ground up, gave me a fist pump, was like, that's incredible. I had his team tell me that I'm like, when I'm not telling you, I'm not making up a Cinderella bullshit story. We started with $6,000. And by the time we opened our doors, after we bought all our inventory and everything, I think we had $1,200 left in the bank on day one, which at the time was more money than I'd seen in a long time. We gambled on us. And it wasn't just us, it was everybody else believing in us and supporting us like you guys and just everybody along the way. There was support always. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, we did everything correctly or we were, our heads were in the game back then because we weren't, we were still younger. We didn't have families yet. But we also had, like you said, the grind, the drive. We were putting the late hours in. We were, there's times like, hey, I got to go on Blog TV. We need money to pay bills. We need money to buy this next deal. I just, it's wild to where to see all that, the accomplishments. But, and again, it came with blood, sweat, and tears. It came with years of struggle, years of up and down. And, I've had my CPA since I opened my doors in 2012. And when he took us, it was my buddy Bruce, and he was like, hey, this is just some little small business thing. I'll take it on. And now we're his number one top client. And he tells people all the time, he's like, this guy literally is an American story of took something that even he thought was nothing and built it into this. And here they are now, whereas like he was handling $1 million companies and all this stuff. And now we're his top clients, and he treats us like, and he's treated me the same since he's known me. But my point being is when I CPA can tell this story and I have other people, use our story, you kind of just say, watch our journey and say that it warms my heart. It's very humbling to know that there's people out there who've appreciated everything that we've done. And we've done everything the best we can. And we continue to want to do the right things and what's best for not only for our business, but the hobby in general. And I truly mean that. I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm friends with you guys. I can tell you that, that I care about this hobby, and that, I remember college days with Steve, when he'd do the boxes, the money that we would make up the product was to help me survive during the college days, I don't ever want to feel that way again, but I'm humble enough to know that I'm grateful to where we've come and who I've become as a man and as a father and as a husband. And, I think, no matter what, I put my family number one, but this business is my first child. It's going to be, and I'm still going to continue to raise it the best I can to continue to take us to the next level. I'm always, as Dave would know, there's Dave, where's he at over here? There he is. This way, are we going this way? How's this work? Yeah, whichever way. I'm like a Seth Rollins. I'm a visionary. I'm an architect. I'm a visionary as far as always. I'm always trying to be, 3 steps ahead. As John Yates, the sheriff, who's one of my closest friends too, and who's my borderline therapist. he is like, you're always 3 or 5 steps ahead. No matter what you're doing, you're thinking outside the box. You're not thinking like everybody else. And I think that's what has been a big thing for us as a company as a whole and as a business, is my vision to think like what other people aren't thinking, and always trying to be steps ahead of anybody in this industry. I'm not saying I'm always right, but I think I can see the patterns. I've done this long enough. I've been through the ups and downs, so I can see a pattern. And I think that's the benefit to me, is having that knowledge, to have that wisdom that I've taken in all these years. And that is what helps me propel to go to the next level. And it's really changed the landscape of so many things for us. Sorry to ramble, but trying to touch the points.
No, your moment.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, for those who don't know, I used to be Ryan's therapist.
Yes. Yes.
Ryan
Steve
and
was.
I used to talk daily.
We
Like,
did.
and that is not an exaggeration. Ryan and I talk daily. And no, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I feel like I was a small portion of pushing him towards following his dream,
Yeah. You
because he talked about it all the time.
Hmm.
And when we went into, I'll say, into business together, when I was doing the boxes, it was a group effort. It was the three of us. And although on a smaller scale, it was a lot of fucking work, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like, at that point in time is when I kind of knew, like, Ryan being the face, being the visionary, so to speak, Neil just being the worker that he was, like, these guys can do it. And I hate using this term because sometimes it can sound condescending and I don't mean it, but to say I'm proud of you guys is an understatement.
Thank
And
you.
I mean that. I feel like I'm speaking for Dave too when I say that. Like, it's to say to say we're proud is an understatement, because, like you said in your rambling, we saw you, like, start, and it just, it couldn't have happened to two better people, two harder workers. Like, I just, I almost envy you guys, because, like, even for me, I've always wanted to own a shop, but I've had a family longer. I
Yes, you have.
carried insurance for a while, so it's one of those in which I can't, like, I can't afford to do something like that.
No.
That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, who's to say I don't go into business from an online perspective. I feel like I can do it. I feel like I got the wherewithal. I have the resources. I know the people. But at the same time, it's one of those in which I have a job, full-time job, plus a parent, a husband, like you said. It's one of those in which, like, can't find the happy medium when it comes to that.
Yeah. No.
But, at the same time, it's, which is why, Ryan, you and I've had some conversations from time to time. I've asked for your opinion on things, your feedback when it comes to things. Because that's still always going to be in the back of my mind. Like, that's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. And not to the point of brick and mortar, but there's a lot I can learn from you. And if I'm going to take advice or anything from anybody when it comes to something trying to go into business, you're going to be the person that I call.
I appreciate
because
that.
because I trust your judgment. I trust your feedback, your honesty. And I'm not trying to turn this, like, and focus it on me. Like, that's not what I'm doing here.
There's no other card shop owners you contact?
No,
Are you sure?
positive.
Okay.
Absolutely positive.
Okay.
Why do you say that?
Nobody in, like, New Jersey or anything?
I'm not close enough to him.
Your feelings about some more than this.
Not Manny. Not Manny.
Oh, you going Santiago?
Tyler?
That would be a big no.
So, we
That would be a
love
huge
you,
no.
Ryan. We love you, Ryan. You know this.
I appreciate it. Love you guys too.
Others not so much. We're older than you. We're curmudgeons. Just wait a few years.
I get it, man. No, I get it.
Ryan
it,
has
man.
done it for the right reasons. He's not in it for the fame. He's not in it for the fortune. Although he has a nice living, but that's not why. Like all of the stuff that he's built was because that's what he wanted to do. That's where he wanted to head. That's what he was hoping for. He's not out there conveying all the shit to the world. Ryan's not an influencer. Ryan could never be an influencer. No offense, dude.
I'm taking,
you
man.
couldn't.
None taken.
You couldn't.
None taken. I don't
And
want
that-
to be an influencer. I like being behind the scenes and knowing that a lot of the people that are influencers can find me and talk to me, and I'm okay not being center stage.
It's this. Your heart won't allow it. You're not that person.
There's not enough douche in him.
I like that.
Oh no!
It comes
no,
out.
no. There's some douche there. There's some douche there.
I can be a little arrogant from time to time, but I can. I think it's more the wrestling, the more the wrestling fan of me coming out at that point. So
we've got stories to back that up, but it's just his heart is too good.
Being an independent member and not knowing you as well as these two gentlemen, I'd rather give you my business after meeting you once than anybody else, because you put faces to a business. When I bought cards from you, you treated me fair. And you're the kind of people that would say, hey, it's for you. Let's see what we can work out. When you ran that holiday special, I look at 5 to 6 sites. If it's something that the other ones have and you have it, it might be a little bit more shipping. It might be $5 more a box, but I'd rather give that money to you because I don't want to say a foreign relationship, but there's been business transactions that felt good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So when you think about it at that aspect, now if you had a bunch of wax, if you had a DNA card guy like what's his name that goes out and buys all those collections, brings all that old wax, I'd buy a ton of more off of you. But what I see, I check for and I watch the prices and I'm like that, and then I go to that site. Well, they have it for $5 more or $5 less. I'm still going to go with you guys because you're Ryan and Neil. That's what people have to do in this hobby. They can't just blindly throw their money. A relationship's more worth in this hobby than it is the cash aspect of saving $15.
Yeah. We appreciate that. Like, I mean, I've always been big on relationships. You know, that's why I'm here today, is because of relationships I built with these two goons right here. You know, so knowing them for a long time and getting to know you from coming on here too, Vinny. You know, it's been to me, it's always been. You know, I always want to take as much time as I can to talk to anybody and build a relationship in any way, shape, or form with good people. You know, and I'm always. That's why at the National we go there and I have everything priced and done, and I've got a team that works, so I can just talk to people as much as I can and just socialize. You know, that's just kind of to be the face of the company, not really being a quote unquote influencer who everybody sees on camera all the time. I'm not doing YouTube videos anymore. I'm not putting my face out there, but people know who I am. People know who I look like, but that's not me being on social media every day, doing a video, making money. I think that's been a level of respect that we've earned over the years by just being who we are. And I kind of think being, um, I'm not trying to use this word, but like kind of a quote unquote a pioneer for hobby shops that can build it up from nothing. I think we're a story that they can see that we did what we did and they can build upon that. Because I get a lot of people that are still wanting to open shops and reach out to me, and I'm happy to give them the advice. But the biggest thing I tell them, the two biggest things is, if you're going to open a shop, you're going to need capital more than anything now. That was not as big of a deal when we started. If we had more capital, we could have done more things with the capital. Now you can't play in the waters with all these sharks if you don't have enough money to operate a business. And now it's more, you have to have so much now to operate. You also need to have the dedication, and you don't need to look at how many hours you work a week. You got to grind, you got to put those hours in. And you just got to continue to build upon what you're doing. You also just got to be passionate about this and show people that you care. You want to build those relationships with your customers. You just can't open a store and people are not going to walk in day one. You can social media out, but unless you have a following pre-opening a store, people don't know you're there. It's going to take time. Nothing is overnight, and you got to be patient and know that if you're in this for all the right reasons, but just know you need to have that capital built up to get you there. Otherwise you're done. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but if you cannot balance this and manage everything, your business can go the other way very fast. And I'm always keen on, we need to continue to take our dollars because we're playing this game on different levels than anybody knows. And we're dealing with all manufacturers, with distributors, and the invoices, money comes in, money goes right out just as fast. I mean, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. I'm playing a different game because we're not only just a car shop now. We're, like you said, we have a website where you go to buy from. We have inventory on deck. We have a lot of inventory. And funny, Vinny, I do have a lot of older wax, a lot more than what people realize. You know what I don't have is time to get to that stuff. I bought a lot of deals over the years, and I have a lot of cool stuff that I know Steve and Dave would really like to see talk about. Late 2000s, early 2000, like late 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 football boxes of hobby and everything, collections, packs, mid 2000s. I got it all. I don't have time. And I'm like, I got to get to this stuff because I know we could sell it, but I truly I have no time, especially with Neil gone, even though everybody else has stepped up. I am just falling behind on everything else because of all the tasks that I have to deal with. I mean, there's just a moment I'll come into work. I'm like, we're going to get stuff done. It's going to be a good day. And next thing you know, I got 3 distributors and manufacturers on the horn within 20 minutes, all blowing me up. Do you want to buy this at this price? Do you want this at this price? And I'm like, run my numbers. Do we need more of this? Do we want more of that? It is so mind blowing. And at times I'm like, what have I become? What is this monster that I'm doing? But at the same token is I'm still thinking ahead. I'm still thinking, like right now, I'm sucking up as much 23 Prism retail anything football. It's 23, 24 Prism anything basketball. Because here's why, and I'll give you a little of my knowledge to what I think this is going to be successful. 23 football, for example, what is the one thing that Prism offers that the other products are making don't? And I'll give you a clue. It's 3 guys with no autographs, but what Prism can offer, none of the other products they make can. Any guesses? Who are the 3 guys that don't have autographs in football that people give a damn about?
CJ Stroud,
Bryce Young.
One more. He's a quarterback.
Will Levis.
You can't get autographs at any of those guys in anything Panini. But the thing is, Prism is Topps Chrome to us in football terms. And all that color and all that stuff, people, you can't even buy a hobby pack of Prism football for $100 now. I think it's about $100 hobby pack. But now you can buy blasters for, I think we're $45 a blaster box right now. And you can pull numbered and colored. Then you go to basketball. Victor, you can't pull autographs, but you can pull numbered stuff in megas and retail and blasters. And Victor has proven he is the real deal. This guy is going out there and dominating this league as a rookie. but you can't get autographs of anything. So what other products, like you can't compare a Phoenix or a Court Kings. I mean, you got Court Kings with some of the random stuff they do, but even like the stupid next day no autographs, like Prism's got all the colors. So long term, I'm sucking up all that stuff because when it comes down to it, the new way, shape, or form, Prism's the thing. If they don't have autographs, you can't get Contenders autos of CJ Stroud. All those Contenders going to be trash this year for football. Same goes as basketball. Point being is we need to have as much of this ready for when football season starts, because once this draft happens in 3 weeks or whenever it is, or 4 weeks, football's only going to get hotter. It's only going to heat up, and people are going to want to come in, and we need to have products that are affordable. So I'm trying to buy up as much as I can at that, and then long term with Victor because of the no autographs, because NT is going to be crap this year. All the other stuff, what is going to carry that? You know, you can put them in a Kaboom, that'll help. You can put them in a Color Blast, that'll help. You can do all this other weird stuff, but you don't have autographs. So point being is, you know, I've got to think, how much of this do I need to buy and at what price, and sit on it and know I got to play the long-term game. And that's where a lot of my, you know, behind the scenes decision making goes. Is I just bought 600 blaster it was 32 blaster cases of 23 Prism Football blasters for my distributor. She's like, I have like 33 available at this price. I was like, I'll take every single one of them. Don't even offer anybody else. And then she offered more like the next week. Give it to me. As long as it's at that price point, I'm in. I can make a few bucks now, but I'm playing a long-term game when I can make $5 more, $10 more, 15 more, because the market is going to eventually, people are going to continue to rip at the current price of $45. And next thing you're going to happen, supply and demand kicks in. And these are things that I'm sure
what supply and demand, what?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. Yeah, that's the thing. So, but these are things I'm sure the big boys, like competitors like Blood, DA, Steel, all think. But this is a lot of hobby shops. I don't think. I think they're not thinking outside the box. They're thinking like, oh, I just need to sell it and move on to the next thing. Where you got to think what your customer is going to want in 4 months from now and 6 months from now. You're not always going to get right. If somebody goes out and breaks their leg or something happens, those things happen, i.e. a Steven Strasburg effect back in 2010. You know, where thank God I didn't have a shop then. I would have been under quick because shops had to close because of Strasburg. But that's what I wish a lot of other hobby shops would think. And if they had that mentality, that would also help them propel to the next level. And I think that's one thing that is what helps us is having those opportunities to know I have the connections to get that type of stuff, because I'm getting hit up by distributors and I'm jumping on things. We just went ham buying WWE for the past 3 months from, I won't say their name, one of my least favorite distributors. And I went and bought the living piss out of it because I love WWE, and we have probably more WWE on hand than probably most of the big boys because of how much I go out of my way and get vocal and said we want WWE. And it actually has paid off. They actually, shockingly, have always screwed me over the years on allocation, and shockingly, I got taken care of on impeccable, and I was blown away with how many cases I was getting because I went in and bought all this up. So that paid off on that end. But I think the WWE, when Panini loses that license, the Panini WWE is going to be great long term because of what it did. It brought so many more people into WWE. And I used to rip Topps Chrome and everything, but it really got me more into it. I think Parker is what really got me more into it because of Bray Wyatt. But, you know, it really got me into WWE again as a collector. And I think long term, that 3-year window we're looking at, if we get 24, which sounds like it, a lot of people can look back and say that was iconic. Those are amazing way. Like that was, you weren't making those kabooms. You weren't doing that stuff. Topps never had that creative, I guess you could say, when it was a WWE. It was rinse and repeat. And I'm not saying Panini doesn't rinse and repeat, but when you can only do so many years of WWE and the supply is different, there's not a surplus of this stuff like there is in other sports that they print. Trust me, I know the numbers. There's not. Because of all the legal stuff, it actually got out there, and it was out there for legal. And I used that to my knowledge, to my advantage, and it was out there for anybody to see. And I'm like, wait, so you're telling me there's only this many cases of this made, and I already know probably 70% of that's been ripped. So I need to go buy the rest of this shit and just wait. And it's worked out, you know. And I think, you know, we're with the National this year. We're one of the lead sponsors with the the main event that Adam Gelman's putting on through the National, which is going to be these trade nights, and we're the lead sponsor for Sports Car Junction. I hope that people leave this year's National. My envision, and I'll tell you guys straight here, by the end of the year, I hope people view RBICRU7 as their one-stop shop for wrestling cards, singles, boxes, you name it. Because we have it all in hand. We have the singles, we have the product, we are knowledgeable. But I just know long-term, I think wrestling is just touching the cusp, and I think it's about to explode even bigger in this hobby, in this industry, and I think it's just an untapped market. But the best part is I fucking love it. I'm passionate about it, so it's enjoyable. It's made me collect, like, my grassroots of collecting. It really has brought me back to collecting like I used to collect Kenny Lofton cards and Randy Moss cards. So I collect Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Parker collects Bray Wyatt. And it's been so fun to take that aspect back into this hobby that I wouldn't say I lost it. It's just I shifted focus into LeBron and other things. And it's really kind of taken me back to, remember, I used to collect refractors of the Vikings, and I still have those boxes. It's crazy. I find them every now and then. I'm like, oh, they're just sitting here. This is great. I used to love doing this. So
yeah, a few came from me. I know.
I know, and they're still there, buddy. I still got them on and sell them or anything. So, and I don't know, man. And I think that is one thing you guys know about me, is that I'm a collector at heart, and I have, a business that goes with the collecting. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it, man. It's. I know you've always been your Clay Matthews and your Packers, man, and I've always loved watching them. You've always picked up some awesome clays, and especially cards. But it's just. I don't know. It's really brought me back to the inner kid, I guess you would say, in the collecting. But the problem is of course, I want to have the one-on-ones of all those guys, and I'm my own worst enemy, and I'm willing to pay stupid to get some of these because I have to have them, especially Bray Wyatt's. I have overpaid for many Bray Wyatts. I can tell you this much: I was pricing on a bunch of WWE, and I was doing some research, and I'm like, let's go, on Cherry Peak, last 2 years, highest sale on 23 Prism WWE on eBay, just to look up some stuff. I'm like, oh, there's that Bray Wyatt card, number one most expensive WWE card that's on eBay past years. That's my kid's card. And then I looked the same for 22 impeccable WWE. Oh, I'm number one with the Randy Orton. Like, I'm my own worst enemy. Like, they should not be selling for that, but I have to have them for my boy and I. And it's just been a lot of fun. And I think that's another reason why I'm ready for Mania is I'm going to do a Rip Fest like I do. And then we have last year, I don't know if I think I posted it on social media or at least my Facebook. I have like my kids, my nephews, neighbors' kids, everyone got a free box of WWE Revolution last year and ripped it, and they had a lot of blast. So we're going to bring product for kids to rip that are here for free, and then I'll have my own little Rip Fest I'm working on right now. I'm trying to lay out the stupidity I'm about to do because I want to. So yeah.
I would like to say, so you heard it from Ryan. Something that I've mentioned in past episodes when it comes to Prism, football and basketball for this year. If you happen to come across it, buy it and fucking sit on it, because regardless of autographs or not, they're gonna want the rookie cards. So, like, hello,
you're down that way, man. CJ Stroud is the real. I think he's proven he's the real deal, man. We haven't seen a rookie like that in a very long time, and I get where sophomore things happen. We could see a different shift, but you're not wrong. And Victor is everything that Zion was supposed to be coming out of the gate, but Victor's lived up to all the hype and then some, and just had a 40-20 the other day. Are you kidding me? I mean, the kid is incredible. So these are, Victor's a generational talent that we don't know we're going to see again. Stroud has really stepped up. We still don't know what Bryce Young could do. He doesn't have anything around him, but it takes time, I mean, Levis isn't bad. I mean, like, there's other keys to it, but like you said, what I think's astonishing is the only reason why these blasters are $100 a box right now is because there's enough supply out there. But when that goes the other way, you're going to see that shift very fast. And I think those blasters will be $100 a box eventually all day if these guys continue to have the career that they're on path to have, the trajectory that they're willing to have right now. So good thing you've let them know.
If not more. So it's one of those in which I have my 3 basketball and my 3 football. I mean, that's because Target puts a caveat on, but I made sure. But my point being is that when we have conversations on past shows and we share little tidbits and things along those lines, there's substance behind it. Not that I'm having conversations with Ryan, that's not what I'm getting at. But sometimes you might want to listen to some people who have some insight, some thoughts. Just throwing that out there. We're not giving hashtag invest advice here, but let it be known that when we talk about certain things, there is substance behind it. We're not just like throwing shit out willy-nilly. Like, I've thought a lot about stuff like this too, and Ryan just solidified it. I get the reason why he's thinking the way that he's thinking, because I thought the same thing. If I could have bought more at the initial release price point, I would have, but I couldn't. So I'll be satisfied with my 3 of each. And when they're $300 in 5 years, when they're freaking consistent badasses, sorry for all those who didn't listen to what I said before.
Look how expensive 2017 football anything is now. Look at Connor McDavid's rookie year. I mean, we joked about how the Blasters used to be $15 a piece, and all these McDavids would come out. I mean, like, look at all this stuff. Like, it's just, look at 2018 now. I mean, 2018 with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have your bad years like 2019, but we knew 2019 was a bad class. We knew that. The only thing carrying 22 is Brock Purdy. We knew that was a bad class. But this 23, we knew was going to be a great class. This 24 is going to be a great class. I mean, the writing's on the wall. But what's changing everything now is these autograph exclusive deals that's really changing the landscape of everything. The collectors got screwed in my eyes this year by not having those 3 guys have autographs and football products. Those products should all be performing so much better. But like outside of Prism and a couple of key ones, everything's dropping football. I'm telling you, I study it. Prism's holding. Everything else, football is going down because there's no patch autos in Phoenix of Stroud and all them. The only thing that's saving those products, certain ones, are the ones with, like I said, the downtowns and the kabooms and all that, because they don't have autographs. But point being is, the collectors are the ones who really lost out on what could have been a great year of products, but that's the game we live in now. This is the industry that is a hobby as a whole, that it's all who wants to get exclusive right deals and latch these guys up before. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see Caleb Williams exclusive with Fanatics. We're not going to get any Caleb Williams stuff. What I'm going to give you an advice to buy a box and put back. I'm going to give you guys advice too. You need to put back a box of 23 Allen and Ginter Hobby. And why do you put back 23 Allen and Ginter Hobby? Is because you have autographs of CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Bryce Young, and a guy named Victor Wembanyama. All have autographs and cards in that product, and they're $110, $115 a box right now. Long term, you can get all those guys, especially Victor autos, for around $100-something a box. That is a no-brainer put back. Sure, they're not licensed, but you're not getting autographs with them, and they're all quote-unquote on card in that product. Just think about that before they're $150, $200 a box, because they will get there soon. They will be there before you know it. You need to grab one of those. And any listeners can hear this. I'm telling you, the Ginter is stupid. Yes, it's probably not you're going to pull one, but it has celebrities as well. But it should be a $250 box already, and it's not. It will be in time. You could pull Victor cards out of it. You could pull all those guys. You could pull their autographs. Always think like what other people aren't thinking. And I'm telling you guys, like, there's so many things. It's all public knowledge. It's all, if you pay attention to the hobby, you know what these things have inside them. I'm telling you, there's just so much that you can benefit from by just thinking outside the box and not just thinking inside the box. And that could change everything. You can put one of those back in your closet, and a year from now, call me and say, "Hey, thanks, I flipped that box for $250," because it will be. in a year from now when there's not as much out there. And you got to remember, also in the baseball, you've got autographs of Ohtani, Trout, the rookies of Gunnar Henderson, all those guys. I'm giving you all the facts right here. It's remarkable what is knowledge that's out there and that you could benefit from in this hobby.
Well, if I followed baseball, I probably would have picked up on that and probably would have already known that. But that's on me.
But I don't believe it or not, I don't follow as much baseball these days.
Do you currently have boxes for sale?
I do at RBICRU7.com. I think I think we're like $115 a box. I think right now I don't remember. I think it's around there. It's in the 110s, I think. So yeah, not just giving me a shameless plug, but yes.
No, I'm giving you a shameless plug on purpose.
I'm just trying to tell. I'm just thinking where you said with the Prism stuff.
Listen, there's only a couple people in here, so the only way anybody's going to hear that is if they go watch it in the archives. So, this is the shit that we talk about. People need to watch the show. You never know what information you're going to get. And if you mention the IRP when you place an order, you get 0% off.
Yep.
So, we're not helping anybody here.
No.
Take it for what it's worth.
No, just
Ryan is helping.
I mean, it's just there's enough people that influence people in the wrong way in this hobby, and they're giving you the wrong knowledge for their own gain and benefit. We're always ones that we want to give you the best knowledge. No, I don't suggest you going out overpaying for your wrestlers like my idiot ass, but I do suggest you thinking outside the box. And if you want to, potentially have, investments for the future, there's enough out there. And we're happy to tell you, that's the best thing about our team that we talked about is they're going to try to steer you in the best direction. They're going to try to figure out what you're looking for when you're coming in. And most people walk in their shop, we're looking to rip something of some sort. Well, okay, what are you looking for? How much you willing to spend? We're going to try to gravitate you to where we feel it best fits your need, your hobby needs, and what potential you're looking to get. So, I mean, we're not just sitting here telling you we're buying up a bunch of Desmond Ritter or whatever the heck Jeff Wilson invested into Will Greer's, and I don't even know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to do all that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm right all the time. I'm not. I mean, I can't predict the future. If we all could, then we'd all be rich, But I'm going to give you, the best knowledge of, what I think could be safe. And again, it's my opinion, but it's been doing this long enough, and I feel confident in a lot of things I do, and the visions that I have, I feel like that they do work out most of the time. Nine times, I would say 90 times out of 100, I'm on par with a lot of the decisions I make, but not to be right every time. So,
Hall of Famers, game used. There you go. Nothing else needs to be said.
Game used, yes. Hall of Famers. Here's my only rebuttal with Hall of Famers now, and I'm
using it as a general.
I know. Oh, I know. No.
Into.
No. Okay. Good. Okay. Well, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The only thing that concerns me with the Hall of Famers is how much more signing they're doing, especially signing a lot with Leaf, and that was
changing. The caveat. Yeah, yes, that was going to be the caveat.
But I mean, I'm all in for finding game use patch autos, game use, keyword, game use, keywords, especially of older products, not recently, which you're not probably getting a lot of game use in football, basketball anymore outside of flawless basketball, not football. But I mean, I would say, put focus on that. Lately, I've been focusing on what you can't find every day. I picked up that Babe Ruth bat knob recently. I picked up, I haven't posted yet. I just picked up a Barry Bonds nameplate 101. I bought a Mickey Mantle nameplate 101, knobs, logos, things like that are pieces of history that you aren't seeing every day. They're not making anymore. There's only 16 Ruth bat nubs ever made, and only 9 of them are licensed. And I own one, and my buddy in Texas owns the 2012 5-star. Just those are the things I'm after these days is like what's not being done, what's not being rinsed and repeated every year. What are they not doing the same of? And that's really what I've been shifting a lot of investments into lately, knowing that, hey, I'm willing to pay this for that card because that card is truly badass and I'm not taking a loss. So unless somebody wants to either pay me worst case scenario what I invest in it or make something, that's the only way I'm selling it. I don't think I'll move the Ruth knob, but never know. I mean, I've got other pieces that I never thought I'd move, but really looking for rarity, essentially in this hobby right now. I think something that is not going to be made tomorrow or next year is a key thing right now.
Nope, makes sense.
Oh, what you got there? There's a Josh Johnson. There he is, little Josh Johnson. Yeah, little tag patch, little bingo.
Any
I like it.
so I'll ask one more question, and then Dave, you can wrap us up because we are coming up on 3.5. Since you mentioned older football products, any chance that you'd be willing to do a nostalgia break that's reasonable, unlike all the other breakers in this world?
If I could
Just
find time to put that together, yes, I would love to do that. We before I had was it so, no, it's before I had Blake. I was doing Throwback Thursdays for a while on Instagram Live, and that was fun ripping older product in general. But I do have some things. If I could ever find the time to put that together, I would be all on board for that. Yes.
I'm just throwing it out there because, like, I'm speaking for myself. If you're not going the route that everything goes now, where it's $500 for the Patriots and
Great to see you too, Michael. Sorry, Mike Sass.
$100. Have a good one, Michael. $100 for the Bengals, and it was like the breaks of old, where
Yeah.
it was. I can understand it being expensive because some of the older products, like I get it, but olden times, all teams are in. It's $10,000 worth of product, so you're looking at I don't know, $500 a spot, whatever it is. Like I couldn't afford that personally, but you get where I'm going with this. Just throwing that out there as a suggestion, and if it does happen,
I will
please
let
make
you
sure
know
I
if it does happen. We have
Please make
some
sure I
things. We're going to see a change here soon. I can't say much about it, but
Can you tell
we're
us in
gonna.
the hours when we're not live?
Yeah, I can tell you. Yeah, that's fine. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you a
Enough
little bit
is
about it.
enough. It's time for a change.
It's time for a change. Change in a good way for those type of things that I won't be able to do, but somebody else will. And I'll tell you that a little bit. I can't really say much now. It's still things are in motion and
Yeah,
it's
we
behind
we
the
we
scenes.
can, we
Yeah.
can do that briefly in
Um,
after hours.
but to get to your point, I'm having so much fun back to wrestling is joining on a couple Facebook groups and buying wrestlers for a fraction of the price, like teams, but there's so many more wrestlers. So, I mean, I'm getting Randy Orton and Seth Rollins and break for very affordable when you're ripping a whole case of Elite WWE. And I think I'm paying like $50 for Seth Rollins' spot for his entire spot in the break. That's kind of the grassroots of what it used to be. And that's been a lot of fun. I even got my brother Reese has been joining with me, and he's literally having the time of his life. And we're just doing this massive wrestling break. We're joining this weekend. We just joined our spots tonight. And he's been trying to get an RVD auto. He got RVD for like $40 and like all this crazy product. And I'm like, that is a true steal for $40 for RVD to be in like 2 cases of Impeccable. I think it was like 6 Elite boxes, 2 Revolution, 2 Prism, and like a 20 case of Select Blasters, which are actually really good in wrestling for $40. And obviously my dumb ass is like, yeah, I'll take Seth Rollins for 200. I'll buy Randy Orton for 150. I'll take Stone Cold for 300. I'm like, and Reese is like, I got RVD for 40. Yeah, give me Bray Wyatt for my kid for 150. But point being is there's a lot more of those guys in there to hit, but you can buy some of those people you can buy for like $10. And you're like, I try to buy Trick Williams today. You don't know who Trick Williams is. I know Dave knows who Trick Williams is. His stuff's doing incredible. And it was $40 for a Trick Williams spot for all these breaks. I try to get them, but you have to put the claim in. I'm like, dude, that is a steal for Trick Williams. Like you pull a Trick Williams autograph, you doubled your money out of like a sticker auto for $40 to get them.
Yeah, I missed out on my Select Blasters of WWE.
Those are incredible rips because you can actually hit one-on-ones in there, like true one-on-ones, like not plates. Like that Select WWE is super under the radar, and you cannot find any cases of any year anymore. They don't make a ton of it.
Yeah, it was just a stash back. Like
okay, there you go. Smart. No, it's a smart play, man. I'm telling you, it's smart.
But I missed my opportunity. So I mean, it's shit happens. But anyways, Dave, wrap us up.
First off, your schedule. SmackDown, Hall of Fame, Saturday, noonish. That's when the NXT is at.
Yep.
I heard you guys on one of the podcasts recently, like started trying to go through the schedule. I just wanted to make sure for the weekend, then WrestleMania for whatever else is going on next year. The white hot rumor. Finally, maybe Minnesota.
I know that's the big rumor, and it sounds like it's coming true. Sounds like it's going to be announced Saturday or Sunday.
Until I fucking hear it, I'm not even believing it because there's been so many. 17, I think it was supposed to be here when the U.S. Bank opened. 18, maybe, and I'm like,
I will tell you two things that I know. There was a Congress or something, and the woman got up there to talk about funding, and she's like, "There's something that is big that we're getting, but we can't disclose right now." Was one thing. The other thing is Adam Gelman deals with a lot of hotels and stuff. And he apparently has reached out to all the hotels downtown, and every one of them has rooms already blocked off, and they're not renting out anything for that week. Just food for thought. What it would be WrestleMania next year. Apparently, hotels downtown there's no availability right now because they're blocked off. So those are two good things that I'm hearing. And if that happens, I've already told Shannon, I think that's going to be our first WrestleMania. We take Parker and probably my daughter too. Blake he'll be 4 at the time, so he won't be ready. But we love going to Minnesota, and I have not been to the Vikings new stadium, so that would be, to me, hey, it'd be the only Super Bowl I'm going to watch in a Viking stadium in my mind. It's the only Super Bowl I'm going to see in my life in Minnesota, that's for sure. So, I think that's going to happen.
I still regret not going when it was here.
That's why when Rumble's here, we always go and we try to hit all the good pay-per-views. There has not, since Rumble, the one we went to, has not been a good pay-per-view. But, I definitely want to make that happen because obviously I love getting up to Minnesota anytime I can to just be up there with fam. And I was just there last weekend. So went up there just spring break, and we went north to Snow. Stay at Great Wolf Lodge and take the kids to Mall of America. We had a good little trip. I drove out to Josh's. I went out there on Sunday with Parker, and I went to 3 Stars for a little bit as well. And sometime we went out there to see the shops for a little bit. So,
yeah, I could have gone for free because my company had a box. So
there you go.
Yeah,
you probably should have went. Let me guess. That was the Stone Cold one, right?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Was it?
Yep. That that was awesome. That was actually a good Mania, and you missed out on that one.
Nobody I live in the vicinity likes wrestling, so I didn't want to go by myself.
Yeah.
So by the time that the tickets became available on Friday, you would not have been able to get on a plane in time to get here for WrestleMania. Just saying. Because I thought about you.
I remember that.
I thought about my buddy in San Antonio. He would have had a better chance of getting here sooner. But it's like, by the time they became available, I'm sitting there going, who do I fucking text?
Who can go,
because tickets would have been free. It came with the parking pass, and we would have been in the fucking box.
That would have been
we
awesome.
wouldn't have had to deal with all the crazy people. So if it happens again, different situation.
Fair
I'll
enough.
be texting Dave and Ryan and my buddy Jeff. Okay, guys, I can get tickets. Who's coming?
And yes, you need to get back up to Minnesota to do another sausage fest.
I do, man. It's been a long before I had kids, man. It's been far too long. We'd love to bring that back.
And that was one I'd heard on the podcast too. It's like, oh, we haven't been up there for a while to just putz around and hang out. And I'm like, oh. Yeah, that was wild. Again, 2016.
It was right. It might have been 16. No, because Parker was born in 16. So if we did it, it was probably before he was born.
It was June of 2016.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was because it was before he was born. Yep, you're right. So
when
a long time.
Torrey Hunter, we went to the Twins game in was against the Red
That's
Sox.
right.
So Ortiz's last go around, and
David Ortiz. Yep, I remember
getting
that.
something cool, and they gave him a fucking big jug of peanut butter. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I mean, come on now. You went to Costco and got some peanut butter for $10.
Yep, I remember that. It was a good trip though. It was fun.
I've never been so sore in my life from golf. I've never been. I was struggling for like the next month. The elbow was killing me. I'm like, I'm doing something wrong, but I was a fucking blast. I love that. That too old for that stuff now, but I'd do it again anyway. Break down,
Yeah, good.
pass out at Josh's again, and try to figure out how to use that shower in the basement. I couldn't figure that out for 20 minutes.
Yep, good old. Yeah, he's actually selling that house. They're moving, so I'll never be at that house again. They're building right now, so.
I remember that was way out in the middle of nowhere. That's what I remember.
Monticello, Minnesota. That's where their shop is. It was almost an hour drive from Minneapolis for me on Sunday. I got how far in the middle of nowhere he was, but they've done a great thing out there, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah, I still got to get down that way at some point. That's so far,
Yeah.
so far out of the way because when Naomi's got her pitching, when we go down for that, it's in Egan, so that's fucking like on the opposite side of the cities. That's on St. Paul's side. So I mean, I'd have to go hour and a half maybe.
Yeah.
And if you're driving back from Ely, that's 8 hours. So in one day, that's and then I'm playing catcher, so I'm taking some balls off the shin and hopefully nowhere else of sensitive areas. It's been close, but you're doing that. Like, just wait till if Parker starts taking that active interest in like a football or a baseball or really like ratcheting it up. It'll be more fun maybe than cards. That'll be the thing. That's what I never thought softball, whatever, I don't care about that. And I love my cards, and it's like I'd trade pretty much every card I have, including the Josh Johnsons, to see her do whatever she wants to do. So, well, I mean, I can get $10 for my Josh Johnsons, but that ain't gonna buy one. So, not too much now that can be done with that. But thank you for coming on again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
We love having you on. I know a lot of the times we sort of circle back to the same conversations we have, but it's the stuff that we value. We know you value. Again, you can actually swear a little on this when you don't have Tyson to edit it out. We don't care. I mean, it's get to be a little more you, little more spice. You don't have Neil to like be the wet blanket and Tyson to talk about hockey all the time or his parrot or whatever the hell he's got for a bird that was stuck in the couch or whatever that.
Oh my god, the house! I don't. Yeah, Tyson's got the most random stories. I'm like, what? Where did you go with this, man? Like, why are we talking about this? But that is Tyson to a T. So no, thanks for having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun. It looks like about 2 hours tonight, so that's good. I told you if I got to come on later, I can give you a lot more of my time and no distractions. I'm probably gonna get that text in here any minute. Where are you? Why aren't you in bed? You know, from the wife. So, but I've had a great time with you guys coming on. Vinny, always great to see you as well, man. I hope to be back on soon, and we'll get Neil on next time with me for sure.
We won't keep you in after hours for too long, so you don't trouble.
Don't drop out yet. Well,
don't drop yet. Don't drop yet.
Yeah.
So, for Ryan, for Neil, who isn't here, for Vincenzo, for Steve, I'm Dave. This has been the IRP. Collecting cards, absolutely wonderful hobby. The friendships you forge along the way, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.